I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to offend you.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I kiss you on the mouth.
No, I'm not cool with that. I'm sorry.
One more time.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I mean, I'm dealing with degenerate animals.
Wait.
I'm disappointed in every one of you. Disappointed in every one of you.
All right, come on.
Honestly, I can't do it, man.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
Let me tell you why.
Gonna be all right, Nicky. Go ahead. Shoot.
You just killed a fucking man.
What are you going to do about it?
Yeah, because you got nothing. You don't got a thing. Yeah, because you got nothing. Lobito! Got nothing.
I want to get out of this rat hole. I want to get online. I need
BDA boxing.
Well, welcome everybody to another BDA Boxing podcast, broadcasting to you live from the True North. It's your good friend, Mr. BDA, and alongside with me as always, my co-host, the one, the only King Bucho. King, you don't have to answer real quick because I want to get to this. All right, I want to get to this introduction, man. A lot going on. We got the team here. We got Stu. We got Jimmy. Hopefully Gonzalo drops by and Chief as well. We're gonna be opening up the phone line pretty soon as well because we want to get see what people have to say. But before we do all that and talk about the latest comings and goings, including a full PBC schedule, we're gonna debate and judge and evaluate it, see how good it is. But before we do that, don't forget to check us out on iTunes, Spreaker, Spotify. Don't forget that if you want to keep the gravy train rolling, you can certainly do so by donating with a super chat. But we prefer if you use the BDA membership program. That way you get a little something extra in return via badges, emojis, and film analysis. But of course, the most important thing is you continue to like and subscribe. All right, fellas, let's give a shout out to everybody out there before we get down to this subject here. I want to give a shout out to the Quags, Marcy D, Totiquitos, Eparokua, Official Scorecard Boxing. Shout out to Official. Shout out to Rapback's Trucking Company. He says, here at Hooters, after this, I'm going to hit the road with the boxing show loud in my speakers. All right, good for you, man. Don't sexually harass any of the waitresses, man. Unless they're good looking, in which case, you do what you got to do. Shout out to Kenshiro, Eparokua, Don Ramon Champ, Team Batman Boxing, Orlando Collins. Shout out to WK Devon, Team Batman Boxing, Padja, Darth Vader, K-Not, Superfly, Facts Over Feelings Manchester, Eddie Valenzuela, and many more to come, I'm sure. Fellas, thank you for joining us. Really appreciate it. All right, let's get down to this, guys. Fellas, Jimmy and Stu and Gonzalo, Bucho, I am sharing the screen with you. So just as a little primer here, before we get the discussion started, just to show the people what we've got, let me show you the PBC schedule that they announced. It's really just Showtime, by the way. There's no Fox. So we've got Tim Tszyu versus Terrell Gausha, and that's going to be taking place in about 2 weeks. Then we've got, let me just make this bigger here. We've got Lubin versus Fundora, good fight. Both of those on Showtime. Then you got a pay-per-view between Spence and Ugas. Of course, the undercard's good in that one as well. Charlo Castaño 2. The undercard is Clayton versus Ennis. Then you got a trash fight between Benavidez and Lemieux. Then you got a pay-per-view between Davis and Romero. Then you got Fulton versus Roman. That is one of the best fights on the roster right there. I'm looking forward to that one. Then you got the one that we're gonna focus on today. Charlo Sulecki, and then Maxayo versus Ray Vargas. So those are the two fights that we got there. And I know I don't want to sound like a negative Nancy over here. Like I said, we got the Fulton versus MJ fight. That is fantastic. But what is up with Jermall Charlo?
Is this? Can anybody talk?
Yeah, go ahead, man.
Yeah, all right, okay. Well, I don't know if it was all right. I just I'll be negative, Nancy. This guy's got 200 fighters under contract. There's no Fox. Clearly, they're not doing business with Fox anymore, other than pay-per-views. All right, that's that's about almost half the fights he had last year. And was that caused from Showtime? Because they're putting their money into Bellator, because the Bellator ratings have been doing excellent. And, you know what I mean? You couldn't fuck around. I mean, think about it. We're having the mandatory, the rematch, the Castano. Yeah, the Danny Roman Fulton fight's a decent scrap, good scrap. Other than that Sulecki one, that dude's lost to, he loses to every talented, any athletic black boxer with any length on him, beats him. Well, you know what I mean? With that, athleticism. Right. A lot of black boxers have heavy athleticism, and that style. And what's his name? Danny Jacobs.
Yeah, he beat him about 5.
Both beat him.
And Rosado almost took him out.
Yeah, this is just more of the same. Attach his name to Canelo, but ends up fighting garbage. Sorry, Stu, go.
No, I just say he's one of them guys a bit like Darnell Boone. He's fought everybody. He's got his ass whooped in every one of them. I know Darnell Boone got a couple of decent results, but he's that sort of guy that's fought everyone. That's a decent result here and there, but it is what it is. With Sulecki, he's been shot for a while now. Do you know what I mean? And even when he was in his prime, he weren't that great, to be honest with you. I just don't get the fight, to be honest with you. I've got a feeling Al just can't afford these guys to lose, man. Because he's got so much money invested in these guys. He lost a lot as well.
Yeah, I think they're just waiting for a Canelo fight at this point.
Yeah, we had to cash out on a Canelo, but the thing is, he can't afford to be slipping up if he wants. If he can't beat Sulecki or whoever, who's he fighting?
Yeah, Charles fighting Sulecki. Hey, by the way, can I say this about Sulecki?
One second. If you can't beat Sulecki, how on earth are you going to beat Canelo Alvarez?
Exactly.
Who's going to pay to watch Canelo fight a guy that just lost to Sulecki? Come on, man.
He's going to win that fight, Stu. He's going to look like shit probably again, but he's going to win the fight. That's what Charlo's career has been so far. Like, he looks like crap against Montiel. He wins that fight. No. Derevchenko, that was a good win. But still, I don't think he's going to lose. But what about his fans? Are they angry about this? Or what's going on?
Every time he gets to have a fucking chin, he turns into Gene Kelly, doesn't he? Come on, man.
Well, can I say something about Sulecki? Look, Sulecki's not a bad guy. He did give Daniel Jacobs a good fight. Even after Andrade tried to run him over, the last 6 rounds, it was really just Andrade missing with that left hand and playing defense. But still, it's a guy that has already lost twice, almost lost to Rosado. So when you go into that fight, into the Charlo-Sulecki fight, on paper, it doesn't get anyone excited, especially when there was all this talk about Canelo or Munguia. And let me say this as well. Look, Munguia is not exempt from criticism either. This motherfucker, who's he going to fight now? Because apparently he's not going to fight Adames, and he's not going to fight Charlo. So what? Are they going to dig up Willie Monroe? That being said, Charlo's the guy that everyone's been talking about, how he's the guy that's being dodged, he's the best, blah, blah, blah. And then he fights Sulecki, a guy who's already been beaten twice. Can you guys get excited over that?
We can't compare I agree with Munguia. He's overrated. But the boxing fans have placed Charlo on another level. Right? He's not supposed to be on the same level as Munguia. Because of their careers, because of the age. Charlo right now, he can be fighting Sulecki. Sulecki is not a bad boxer, but he's a gatekeeper. Charlo's supposed to be fighting like the big names at this point. And he should be desperate about it. He's going to turn 32 years old in May.
Well, that's
the same age.
I think that's a bit generous. The gatekeeper has lost the fucking keys. Let's be real. This guy's not... Where does it make you turn your career? Beat Sulecki, is it going to move you forward? Is everyone going to say, oh yeah, he beat Sulecki? No one gives a goddamn shit that he's beat Sulecki. He needs to be fighting a lot better people than Sulecki for me to want to even entertain a Canelo fight. Canelo's talking about fighting Bivol. You know what I mean? People are like, you, come on, man.
It's not a pass on Munguia. He's 24, but Charlo's 32.
That's an excellent point, Gonzalo. It's one guy's
Yeah, that's
25.
what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. Yeah.
And we're going to be comparing their resumes just for clarity here. May I also say, though, that some other people have already pointed this in the chat. Shout out to people in the chat. When you look at Charlo, he's going to be fighting on June the 18th. I believe the last time he fought was against Montiel, that awful showing is Montiel, which was on June 19th, I believe. So it's going to be a year off. He's probably going to hurt his hand or something in this fight. You never know. Best case scenario for him, he's going to be fighting in December 2022. So, fellas, he's going to be 32, I believe, as well, this year. So, I mean, what do people expect here with Charlo? Or what can we expect? Is it safe to say he's never going to get Benavidez either? He's not because Benavidez and Plant ain't going to fight each other, by the way. I think that I heard a rumor that it's going to be Caleb Plant versus Anthony Durrell. So, where does Charlo go from here? He's not going to get Canelo next. After
I mean, let's
fight.
be real. I think that'd be I think to fight Benavidez would be a terrible move for Charlo. Benavidez has got that style, like Charlo. Everything about Benavidez, Charlo's going to have problems with. I mean, it's that sort of style, that sort of aggression. Charlo doesn't like that. I mean, he'd be committing suicide with. I mean, he's not really. He's a good puncher. Don't get me wrong, but he's not really getting these guys out of there. I mean, you're going to have to knock Benavidez out to stop him. I just don't have Charlo. I mean, he can stand and trade at times, Charlo. But does he really want to go to a war with a super middleweight? I just can't see it, man. That'd be a stupid fight for him, man.
Yeah, and like I said,
when the matchmakers know and the people know, and you know in your heart of hearts, I'm talking about Charlo, that you can't win a fight, you probably prefer to, keep the hype train going, than step up and fight a guy like Benavidez who's younger. And if you lose, you get thrown under the bus, and he becomes more of a superstar than you do. So it's like the writing's on the wall. This guy is overrated, man, because he's 32 now.
He's gonna be 32.
At some point,
he's gonna be 32
you have
by
to
the
make
time
it happen. And if you don't, what does that say about you? 32 years old, never did anything.
And by the way, Gonzalo, when he steps in there at 32 years old, that's already he's past his peak, technically, right?
Oh yeah, I know. I mean, the time he fights someone decent, he's going to be walking in the ring looking like fucking Morgan Freeman. I mean, come on, man.
Well, he could technically be still like in his peak, because when a man is in his prime, I'm not talking about boxing, just in life, you're like about 32. You're still strong. He's kind of preserved in the sense that he hasn't fought a lot, like he ain't beat up. But at the same time, since he hasn't been staying active in the ring, that could also be the equivalent of being past your peak, because you haven't, like Jamie says, iron sharpens iron. You're not that sharp.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, you're not beating up, but you're not sharp.
I find with a lot of American fighters, I see it in a lot of them, they just look a bit too comfortable in life, don't they, to really want to dig deep and grind. And that. I mean, when the Americans used to dominate boxing, all my heroes like the Leonards, the Haglers, the fucking the Tysons, the Larry Holmeses, and all them people, the fucking Aaron Pryors, them sort of guys. They were from the hungry streets of America, man. They were brought up in tough backgrounds. They had to fight any way out. But these guys these days, I mean, they're like little sport brats. I mean, especially a lot of these African American fighters, they're really spoiled, entitled. Do you know what I mean? And don't want to give it all anymore. They got these big houses, getting paid far too much money to. They haven't earned the right to earn that sort of money, if you ask me. I mean, I'm not one that likes to see fighters struggling for purses, but these guys are getting paid far too much for doing too little. And when you see them in their big houses with their fucking silk pajamas on, like I think it was Hagler who said it. I mean, it's fucking hard to get up out of bed in your mansion in your silk pajamas and go for a 6-mile run. And I think a lot of them just don't have any hunger. I mean, as soon as the fight's over, they're in the fucking clubs and making it rain, aren't they? All of them blow up, don't they? I mean, fuck's sake. I mean, Tank, Errol, all of them blow up massively. So none of them really got the stomach for it. It's like, just have a half decent opponent and make a couple of million and keep the gravy train rolling. They don't want to take chances like the old school American fighters. I mean, when I was younger, like the great fighters, man, they said what Roy Jones and young Floyd and do you know what I mean? There's some great fighters from America, man. And now you look at them, it's like fucking boys to men, isn't it? Like they're like boy band. Well, guys, now not from the street. I mean, before it was from Brooklyn, New York. Now it's from fucking Wisconsin or something. And these fucking guys, man. I mean, there's no toughness in these American fighters anymore. I mean, don't get me wrong, they can still fight. Americans got some good fighters, but they just don't breed them like they used to. And
that's the thing, though. When these guys go, oh, they criticize Canelo for saying that they had to fight each other. Well, that's what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to fight each other so that they can go into the Canelo fight saying, hey, look who I beat. Now, can I just say something real quick? Two things. One, please hit the like button, fellas. Really appreciate that. Hit the like. And let's go to a phone call here before this person leaves. Let's go to 678. You're on the air. 678. What's on your mind?
Hey, shout out, BDA. This is Soothsayer. So, this is proof that, a lot of the LDBC members, they think that we're just being racist because we don't like Charlo or we don't like Shakur. But, I mean, the proof's in the pudding here. Look at the domestic violence thing. Look at the robbery that he's involved with.
Right. Well, see, I'm not focusing too much on that, but I mean, if you wanted to make the argument that these people aren't all the best of the best of character out there, then yeah, you could say that. But in terms of the fight itself, I mean, what do you think about the fight, the Sulecki fight there, Soothsayer?
Yeah, as far as the fight's concerned, your next 6 episodes should just be the same title, but with the last name of the rest of the fighters. Clan.
Oh, come on.
They're trash. Prove me wrong. Munguia, they're trash. I mean, they're doing the same thing, right?
Yeah. Him and Munguia, but at least Munguia has an excuse. He's 25, and there's not that. You know what I mean? This guy, 31, he's going to be 32 by the time he steps in the ring. It's ridiculous, man.
See, that's the Mexicans are the only ones I let get away with them sort of records, because at the end of the day, the Mexicans just don't. I mean, they just don't really believe in that amateur boxing, because it's all about fucking standing in the pocket and showing that you're a warrior with Mexicans. I mean, let's be real. Herrera was a very skilled Mexican. I mean, what the fuck? That guy couldn't even fill a phone box. No one wanted to watch that guy fight. You know what I mean? It's sort of like bred into these Mexican guys. It's not just about winning the fight. It's about entertaining and showing that you're a warrior. So these kids are going to be green when they come up 16 years old and they're fighting grown men. I don't mind that. But when you got people like the Charlo that come through the American system and the British fighters that have come through some of the best training systems in the world, of amateur pedigrees, and they're fucking fighting nobodies after like 30 odd fights. I mean, I just don't accept that. That's why these young guys are having to move on quickly these days, especially some of these good Olympians like Lomachenko, them sort of guys, a fucking second fight sort of thing. You can't be letting these sort of talents have 30 odd fights. I mean, fucking they'll be 45 years old before he gets a title shot. Mm-hmm. And so I get it with the Mexicans, but anyone else, no excuses with the British or the American, especially Charlo. I mean, this guy, I mean, he's been around since time began, hasn't he? I mean, when Charlo was born, dinosaurs were rolling around. This fucking guy's been around forever, right? And yet he still hasn't fought anybody with any sort of who I think is like a top talent. Because I don't really know where to judge him. I don't really know how good he is, because he's never really fought that sort. I mean, let's be real. I'm quite good at the eye test, and he gets sparked out cold if he fights Canelo in devastating fashion.
Well, that's an interesting one right there. Let me just get back to Soothsayer here. See, Soothsayer, you got anything else you want to say before we move on?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
When he's talking about that the African American fighters are very pampered, all you got to do is look across to UFC. There's a fighter named Bryce Mitchell. At a press conference, he's crying about making $45,000 for his family, man. And these guys are getting paid $2 million, $5 million, demanding all this shit. They're not
That's
hungry.
a good point. Yeah. That's an excellent point right there, man, Soothsayer. Hey, well, listen, Soothsayer, I'm going to contact you on Discord a couple of minutes, but we got to move on, all right, man? So take it easy out there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think my comment wasn't directed at like a race, because you've got black people all over the world. I just think it's an African American thing, where it's like these fighters, it's like they've got like entitlement, and they seem sport to me. They just don't seem to want to do it the hard way, like the old school fighters used to do. And everything's put on a plate for them. I mean, even the decisions. I mean, fucking hell, these guys got to get put in a coma to fucking to get a defeat. Do you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? They're getting looked after with the money, with the promotional. They're getting the right judges in for them. They're fucking skipping drug testing when they should be taken. Let's be real. A lot of them are skipping the drug testing. We all know that.
Yeah.
And then their opponents are getting tested 5-6 times a fucking week. So they're getting everything put on a plate for them, and they're in the comfort zone. So when you've got this hungry lion that wants to fight you, you're thinking, do I really want this fucking work for an extra million when I can fight this chump, make myself a couple of million, go after the fight, go and make it rain again? So that's all they fucking do, man.
That's right.
I mean, look at Broner. I mean, fucking hell, the guy. I mean, the guy he's got to be up to fucking 20 stone when he's out of camp. Come on,
well, that's
man.
why he's in a wheelchair now. He can't fucking walk. He's too heavy. Hey, can I just say, give a shout out to Rider of the Storm for his contribution with the super chat. He says, if Charlo, Benavidez, and Boo Boo don't fight each other, Canelo will not fight them. Canelo will retire without fighting them and still be in the Hall of Fame. Well, actually, shout out to Rider of the Storm for his contribution. Can I ask you fellas a question? You tell me if this is so crazy. Canelo's moving up to light heavyweight for the second time, right? Taking on Bivol, who a lot of people consider to be the best light heavyweight in the world. Why is it too crazy to ask Charlo to move up and fight Beterbiev, or at least offer him a fight?
You've got a bad chance of getting a fucking blowy off Angelina Jolie. For real. These guys, I mean, they ain't even fighting anyone in their own division. Do you think they're going to go up and fight some fucking monster like Bivol? I mean, what Canelo's doing, I mean, to take some fucking balls, I'll tell you, because he's a lot smaller guy now. And let's be real, all right, he fought a shaky Kovalev that wasn't at his best, but fucking Sergei Kovalev is a devastating puncher. I mean, he's killed somebody in the fucking ring. Mm-hmm. You know, so for a guy to go up and do that, I mean, I can't understand why Canelo gets the shit he does. Because for me, all right, when he was fighting fucking Matthew Hatton and all them fucking chumps, Ryan Rhodes, yeah, he was a green. He was a young Mexican who's green, and he looked a bit slugs. When he fought Floyd, his feet were slow and flat. So I can see why people didn't rate him. But today, he's a full package. He's got everything. He's a beautiful thing to watch when he's throwing his hands. I mean, and I think we should cherish these sort of guys, because when he's gone, no one else is going to do it. Because, like I said, the fucking shot. Do you think Tank Davis is going to go and do things like that?
Yeah, that's what I asked the question. You know, like, Jimmy, do you think it's so crazy to ask him to do something that would add to his career?
Oh, no, it wouldn't be crazy. I mean, you could probably make it happen. You just have to click your heels together 3 times. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? He'd have to go to the Wizard of Oz to find that fight. Like, are you kidding me? That'd be one hell of a thing if he did, but no, I mean, come on.
Well, I don't know. It'd freeze like the Tin Man when it rains, mate. If he was in there with Canelo, he'd fucking freeze. I'm telling you.
Right? Yeah. No, that's just crazy. I mean, it just gets to the point. Like, all right, this kid's still Sulecki too. He's mostly a career, like 154. He went up to 160, I believe. The first reason why he went up there was for the payday, and he kind of just hung around there. But he's an undersized middleweight. Not a power punch to begin with. Shocker, another dude, you know what I mean, who can't hit hard. And Keith Idolak tweeted out something about why the fight fell apart, which was nebulous at best. Like, I don't know if you can go and check it on Twitter. I couldn't figure out what the hell he's saying, what he's trying to get across. Keith tends to always, well, I've seen this recently, go kind of pro PBC, which kind of surprised me. But yeah, and a lot of people got out of that. It was Munguia, but again, like you said, go check that tweet out. So I don't know exactly what happened there, but Munguia, yes, he's had a lot of fights, but he is only 25 years old. Charlo's 31. When you're fighting once a year or once every fucking 18 months or whatever it is, and it's against this level of competition, is just crazy to me. Because, and then you expect a Canelo fight. I mean, if he was in his top condition with what I see he has, his 1-2 punch, nothing too spectacular. Now that he's up at the championship level and is at least a risk of guaranteed, testing. Seems a lot of the people out of that gym, you ever notice, on the way up, they were just knocking motherfuckers out like it was, like it was nothing. And all of a sudden they get up there on that contender status now when the VADA starts showing up at your door. Their power goes away. I mean, just not me. It's the facts. Look at them. I mean, Spence actually brought it up at his last fucking when they said, "So you're going to stop him?" Well, I haven't stopped anybody in a long time. He kind of joked about it.
Hey, by the way, can I just say real quick, Stu, let me just, Stu, just 2 seconds, real quick. Shout out to Kenshiro for his contribution with the super chat. He says, if Charlo fought Beterbiev, he would get 2 blue eyes.
Mate. He'd be 6 foot under if he ever took that fight, but he would, mate. It'd be suicide. It'd be fucking suicide, mate. Well, I was going to say something then about
the VADA. Jimmy was talking about VADA and how Spence's
So the thing is, when you get to the world class level, when you get to the top of boxing, it's not easy to knock fighters out. These guys, they see the punches coming, they brace it. They're good on their feet. They know when to hold. As you step up the gears, I mean, you get some fucking plodding journeymen strolling forward, square on. Night. That's ending quick. Mm-hmm. But as you got the levels, these guys have better survival skills, defensive skills. They see the shots coming earlier. They've got more know-how. And I said, I mean, look, go and watch Malik Scott v. Luis Ortiz. Now, Luis Ortiz was meant to be this killer. All right, Malik Scott was a dreadful performance. He couldn't land a glove on Malik Scott because it's easy to run from someone. And you can run from a fight, but you're not going to win it. But you can run from, and it's very hard when someone's in survival mode. It's very hard to get them out of there. So,
excellent point.
So I mean, so as you step up the gears, these fighters have got more know-how, and when you get to the world level, I mean, you don't see it. It's not every day you see fucking Pacquiao Hatton knockouts and stuff like that, is it? You know what I mean? At the top level, these guys, they're hard to get out of there. And this is what I mean with these records. They look good on paper, like Wilder, all them knockouts. If you didn't know Wilder's all them knockouts, all right, Wilder does hit hard, he does. But when you see he's knocked out, but as soon as he stepped up to someone that's got a bit of boxing, all right, he fucking dropped him heavily. But come on, look at the background.
Well, can I say again, I want to reiterate, I'm not, and that's an excellent point, Stu, about levels. That's why I don't think this Sulecki fight is trash, and I don't think any of us are going to call it trash. But isn't it that, Gonzalo, isn't it the type of fight that he should have taken, 4 or 5 years ago, but not now?
Well, yeah, because Sulecki was relatively unknown, but still dangerous in the sense that he had a loss. He showed good skills in the ring. But ever since Sulecki lost, ever since then till now, we've seen that every time that Sulecki fights, he kisses the canvas. He gets knocked down. So that's going to be the difference. Charlo, he's probably going to get outboxed. He'll win some rounds. But in the end of the day, he'll probably drop Sulecki once, maybe twice. And in the score, in the judges' eyes, they'll see that as a big victory.
Absolutely, man. And can I say, Stu, can I say something to you, man?
Giles in the chat. I'm going to have this guy for his name go. Giles in the chat just said, is that Stu? He can't break down a fight and never gives Ben Davison credit. Yeah, that's me. I don't give that guy any credit. And let's be real, I'm not going to really take a guy serious called Giles. I mean, you're dealing with some fucking snob from somewhere like Somerset. You know what I mean? Never been in the only ring he's been in is a fucking, his boyfriend's. So I ain't got time. I ain't got time to worry about people. At the end of the day, Ben Davison, right? Are you telling me Ben Davison was the reason that Conlan got knocked out?
Yeah,
Conlan got knocked out. He was getting schooled. If it weren't for his toughness and his grit and his will and determination to win and his chin, he'd have got knocked the fuck out second, third round. Toughness, that wouldn't have been. Ben Davison's game plan nearly got him knocked the fuck out in the first round. Get out of here with. I mean, about Ben Davison. No wonder he was fucking hugging him in the middle. Thought, I got away with that one.
Well, Wood said in the press conference, and they said, hardest game. He said, well, if I would have used the game plan, it would have been a lot easier. Or, because he admitted he didn't even follow the game plan. So and Ben Davis kind of tried to show the smirking, but he said it in the press conference. At the end, he said, he goes, well, it probably would have won if I actually followed the game plan.
Oh no, that's awful.
Oh yeah, so he didn't even, and so it was he didn't. I mean, I can't give Ben Davis. For a fighter's heart, you know what I mean? Because if he didn't even listen to the game plan, I don't know.
But I gotta ask, what is that team? Giles Wilson, what's that team logo he has there?
Watford. It looks like Watford.
Watford.
Oh, there we go. Say no more.
Come on.
I mean, just everything about the guy's a loser. Even the team he supports, bottom of the fucking league.
Oh, jeez, Stu doesn't take any prisoners, man. I'm a Millwall fan, so I mean I can't besmirch this guy for going for Watford.
You said I wouldn't call that fight trash, like you said, if it was 5 years ago. If he was the first one to stop him. But we've already seen this dude's blueprint. He can't beat athletic, bigger guys. He's going to go in there probably like Gonzalo said, get dropped a couple times. And the ref, I'm telling you, they'll be looking for a stoppage. They want something out of it, at least get a stoppage.
Mm-hmm.
And they think the other two dudes stop him and just beat him on points. So that'll be his claim, I'm the one who stopped him. But big deal. Man, this is like a fight you're supposed to win. Zoo, all that talk, Zoo was going to fight this guy, fight that guy, Goucher there. He seems like an all right guy, you know what I mean? I don't want to badmouth him, but dude couldn't break eggs, you know what I mean? Doesn't punch hard. I just really was looking at that. Yeah, I like the Fulton fight, and I like the Castano rematch. But after that, Rolly Romero, come on, that thing's actually going to happen, huh? It's like a train
pay-per-view,
you can't
man.
Avoid from fucking. That's just
pay-per-view.
That's just such a sin. That's
pay-per-view, Jimmy. And they
I guess that's the reason why the Munguia fight fell apart, because of a pay-per-view. Again, I'm gonna get that tweet, see if you can break it down, see what he's trying to get at. But I mean, of course, all Charlo's fans right away. Oh, is Munguia ducking the fight? That's why he has to fight Sulecki. Oh, really? He had to fight him. There's nobody else he could have fought. How about him fighting Benavidez? At 168, because he's going to move up there. Because if he's going to have to, because where does he expect to fight Canelo? Does he expect Canelo to come down to 160? He'll be lucky if Canelo comes down to 168.
Here's my prediction, Jimmy. Here's my prediction, Jimmy. I think after Benavidez fights Lemieux, they're either going to dig up Willie Monroe or they're going to put him in there with Caleb Truax. And he's going to keep talking about how he wants to fight Canelo, he wants to fight this guy, he wants to fight Plant, Charlo. They ain't going to happen. Charlo's if Charlo gets past Sulecki, he probably fights Brandon Adams a second time. I mean, they're never going to fight each other.
Benavidez is going to be fighting Anthony Durrell.
I know Charlo, mate. I know what he's going to do. He's going to bring fucking Billy Joe back. You seen the size of that guy? He's walking around like Butterbean at the moment. He'll do something like Wilder did, drag him off the fucking the coke table, about 20 stone, make him lose loads of weight and try and get a good name on his resume. It wouldn't surprise me, Then the day, or wait till the Golovkin's like walking into the ring on a fucking Zimmer frame, and then he might fight him. Do you know what I mean? What is this fight about? Tell me.
The one that looks like he's willing to fight everybody. It's David Benavidez. The problem with him, how I see it, man, the dude's really he's huge. He's like a cruiserweight, dehydrating himself down to 168. Now he wants to get in everybody's good graces because of the two incidents with the weight and the cocaine issues that happened to him. But I wouldn't want to fight him, dude. If the dude's a cruiserweight, stepping down to 168, dehydrated. He's a young guy. We know that young guys can cut down weight and then they can put it back on. Then whether it's muscle or fat or water weight, he'll throw on the weight back to his body. And he's lugging around all that weight, which equals to like punching power, dude. Inside of the ring, he's gonna be huge on that night. That's why these guys don't want to face him, because he's stepping into the ring weighing around like 190. Man, that guy's big, man.
Yeah, the thing is, it catches up to you in the end when you're losing that sort of weight. You've seen it time and time again where fighters are basically.
Well, not now. That's to his advantage. That's a benefit. Yes.
Yeah, what I'm saying is there's only so long he's going to be able to keep doing that before it takes it out of you. And it does, mate. He needs to step up. He's going to have to step up eventually. Have you seen fighters where they just got nothing left? I'm going to have to step up, go up.
He's a light heavy right now. He's a light heavy, and
of course he is, man.
Real soon.
Of course he is, man. That's a lot of weight to lose, to get down to middleweight. Fucking lot of weight, man.
So by the way, don't forget to hit the like button, fellas. Hit the like, and the phone lines are open. I'm also going to be posting a StreamYard for outside North America callers, so you can call in via the StreamYard. Somebody wants to say something?
Well, Mr. B, I posted Keith Idleck's tweets that was told to him to PBC. So if he has a connection to PBC, that's why he has to show up at PBC, because they don't deal with anybody who doesn't give them flowery stories. I mean, remember they didn't even send credentials to Steve Kim, but he didn't ask for them either because he knew that he wasn't going to get them, or even bother asking for them because he wasn't going to kiss their ass.
So you want
this is the thing. This is the thing in the boxing media. I mean, this is why a lot of these guys that are commercial with their channels, they're arse slickers, aren't they? They don't keep it real. I mean,
well, this is what the tweet says. Stu, are you still there? I think he was breaking up. Yeah, Stu, you're breaking up, man. Let me just read this tweet there from Keith Idek that Stu just gave me. The way it was explained to me, the PBC did not hear back from Munguia's promoters for a few days, and neither Showtime nor DAZN were interested in a DAZN pay-per-view, Showtime pay-per-view, or a joint pay-per-view for Charlo Munguia. Showtime made a sizable offer to put it on Showtime on June the 18th or in July. So again, there's plenty of blame to go for, both ways, if this is indeed true. Because, I mean, why not go to DAZN? Why not do some sort of compromise? Now Charlo's fighting for this.
Isn't that weirdly worded the way he said, Showtime and DAZN weren't happy with the DAZN pay-per-view or something? So basically it's saying they weren't going to let Charlo cross over to DAZN.
It's the way it seems like, a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, right? I mean, I don't know how, because I know most of the people who responded to it, which tells me, too, a lot of people follow him. But anyways, it's all, I've told you Munguia was ducked. I'm like, I don't know if I got that out of that. I can't really tell. But it doesn't really matter. Both their fucking resumes at 160 is atrocious.
And Jimmy, why would somebody be afraid of Charlo? This is what I was thinking, because he's been looking like shit. Now, I remember when Golovkin was avoided, but then again, there was a reason for that, because Golovkin looked dangerous as fuck. He was knocking everybody out. When it comes to Charlo, again, this guy has been he looks like shit when he fought Montiel. The other fight, the Derevchenko fight, he looked okay, but before that, against Korobov, he looked pretty bad. So nobody's really scared of that guy.
I think they're scared of the hometown. I think if I was DAZN, they're scared of the PBC curse. So, you know what I mean? What's the chance he's going to go fight in the PBC? And if someone doesn't get knocked out, if it goes to decision, I mean, Munguia's his people probably like, you're not going to get a decision on a PBC card without really one-sided beating them, which isn't really his way. He either stops people or he kind of gets in dogfights with them. And if it gets kind of a dogfight, they're probably thinking we're not going to walk out of that place with victory. Even if it's close, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
these fighters are looking really bad in the sense we know, like in the boxing world, that Canelo said something, and this is why Canelo is ruffling some feathers, and it's kind of cool because he don't really speak English, but now that he's saying things that are moving the masses. He's telling these fighters don't want to fight anybody. They should fight each other, and it's the perfect time for these guys to step up. And what do? When they put it in a silver platter for them to do something, they fucking back off and start fighting these other guys, and they're not doing what we want them to do. But basically, Canelo, I'm not saying that Canelo himself is doing it, but something is being like mentioned in the sense for these guys to do something, but they're not doing it. You know, they're bringing it back to stale, to fucking to not being so like entertaining like they always been.
Yeah, I agree with that. And Jimmy, what do you think about like the PBC? What's the plan with Charlo though? Let's say you're Al Heyman or whoever is managing this guy.
168 after this fight, probably Plant. Depends on how he looks against, because that fight's not happening. I guess that fight with Benavidez is definitely not happening now. But I mean, well, then again, that's what's his name? Plant. I mean, Benavidez, this guy. Remember when they were talking 2 years ago about making that fight with Plant? He was like, "Oh no, that's that's both A fighters. That's a lot of money." That guy's just so creepy. But yeah, so they fucked around so long. Now Plant has lost his belt and his so now that fight is nowhere near what it once was worth. So I think honestly, I think Charlo will go and probably fight Anthony Durrell at 168.
Yeah, and just to like what Jimmy was saying, Bucho, like in life, you have highs and lows, and you mentioned this in the Second Renaissance about the Great Reset. In life, you have highs and lows. Here is just low, low, low. You don't have a high. At some point, you would wish and you would wonder, when is something going to happen? And it just doesn't.
Well, I mean, I think it's a good... Oh, hold on a second. We get a internet. I want to get back to what Gonzalo just said because it's an excellent point. People fight for and the professional ranks. Don't let anybody fool you. It's not just about legacy. It's about money too. These guys ain't amateurs. They don't want to do it for free. So I want to get back to that. But before we do, let's go to an international call here. We got Kenshiro.
That was a good point.
Us. Yeah, let's go to Kenshiro before we get back to that on the international line here. Kenshiro, you there?
How you doing, my friend? How are you, Stu, Jimmy?
Everyone's doing
how you doing, buddy?
Yeah, hopefully you're doing well as well. And
not bad.
What's on your mind, man?
Yeah, I mean, this, Charles fighting this Sulecki. Well, he's 3-2 in his last 5 fights. I mean, you got some people, and I don't know if they're trolling or actually being serious, that blaming Canelo because why Charlo has to fight this guy. Canelo's not the only boxer in the whole world, right? You can fight. You've only got one crummy belt at 160, right? There's other belts. Mm-hmm. Why are you not chasing out other belts? Why is it you not want to fight Benavidez 168? Because you probably get your ass whipped, right? What is it? You can't tell me that. Yeah, everybody wants Canelo for the big payday, right? Everyone's payday, but there are other people to fight. So don't blame us, blame yourself type thing. You understand it? It just annoys me that this is the narrative now that I don't know if it's the LDBC or certain the African American community are looking to push the narrative, and you think I don't know if it's trolling or they're actually being genuinely serious, but you just think your people need to stop riding the Hispanic dick and do your own shit.
That's an excellent point. That is an excellent point. And look, it sort of touches upon what Gonzalo was saying earlier. Is the guy's going to be 32 by the time he steps in there with Sulecki. So what exactly has he accomplished in his 12 years or more as a pro? Kenshiro, here's the thing though. Would you agree though that the Sulecki fight isn't trash, but it seems that way because of all the talking Charlo and his fans have been doing?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know who. I mean, there are other people to fight. He's only got one belt once. He's not exactly got 3 out of 4 belts at once. He's got one crummy belt, right? So at the end of the day, there's other people to fight. I mean, he who is his best win that you can say, yes, you can be in the Hall of Fame? I mean, Canelo, yes, he had to fight Yildirim. That's a Mando. But you look at before and after, he was fighting even Rocky Fielding. He had belts. Canelo fights people who has championship belts, not JC Penney belts.
All right, that's an excellent point right there, Kenshiro. That's an excellent point. Listen, we got to go to some North American calls as well, but anything else you want to say before we move on?
No, love you guys' channel, and I'll call you guys on Friday when it's open talk show for everybody.
Fantastic, Kenshiro. Thank you for your call, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks for the call, bro.
Take it easy, man.
Stay safe, everybody. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Absolutely. Stay warm. All right, that was Kenshiro talking via the StreamYard. Don't forget, international callers, StreamYard, and North American callers via the phone line. We got there, the phone number posted. It's in the left-hand portion of your screen. Let's go to, which one came first here? All right, let's go to 929 first. 929, you're on the air. 929, what's on your mind?
What's going on, BDA? It's Virtuoso.
Oh, Virtuoso, what's up, man?
No, man, I just wanted to talk briefly about this upcoming Showtime boxing schedule they put out. I got to say, it's really decent. I really like the matchups they have here. Against, these guys aren't like the best known fighters in the world, but they're really intriguing. Even to a lot of hardcore fans. The only red flags that to me speaks out to me is Benavidez versus Lemieux, Charlo versus Sulecki, and this dot of a pay-per-view that pretty much likely a lot of people are going to steal more than they're going to buy. Gervonta Davis versus Rolando Romero.
Well, Virtuoso, let me interrupt you right there, man. Let me interrupt you right there because you're saying it's a decent schedule. Okay, first of all, take away the pay-per-views. They don't count. I mean, it's Showtime, by the way. This ain't Fox Sports. This is a premium cable channel. So take away Spence, Ugas, and all the fights in that undercard, and take away Davis Romero, which should not be pay-per-view, and they don't even have an undercard, by the way. So we're left with the other fights. Some of them also, like Charlo Sulecki doesn't, and Maxayo Vargas, they don't have an undercard yet. Hopefully they'll add it. But do you remember what happened last year too, when they announced those fights? in up to the summer, and then they had a 3-month hiatus before putting in 3 or 4 cards at the end of the year. Remember that?
Yeah, I seem to recall that.
Yeah, so I mean, it's a good schedule considering that they were almost out of the game in total, the PBC. But I don't know, man. Look, I'm trying to look at the bright side like you are, but I don't know if this is really that good a schedule.
Right. Well, I'll say this: they're putting this on now. That is for a spring through summer events. They don't. It's obvious that boxing doesn't want to compete with football. They don't want to compete with the NFL. They don't want to compete with college. So they're being a little judicious about their scheduling. That's the way I look at it. But I just want to point out one thing about Charlo, about the topic question, right? I do kind of blame partly the Golden Boy side of things, because I do feel like, if they were confident in Munguia beating Charlo, they would have sent him. They would have done it already. But the thing is, I think they're really are really committed to their partnership with DAZN, that somehow they want to cut into the pay-per-view action. But I don't think that is unrealistic, because in boxing, it's either you buy pay-per-view from our distributor or someone else. It's like there's no sharing of revenue. That's the way I look at it. It's more hyper-partisan than it is now, than ever before. But yeah, Sulecki, man, I that's an opponent that Andre, the guy who called him out, washed 3 years ago. You're taking less money to fight a guy that was washed by Demetrius Andre. I don't get it. I don't see how you're gonna continue to string along the fans with this bullshit ass career that you're building with Jermall.
That's a great point. I mean, why not take the risk and let the fight happen in the zone, and then come back with a win and more leverage? Like, hey, you beat a big middleweight who's undefeated. Yeah, that's an excellent point, man. We got another call here, but anything else you want to say before we move on?
No, not much. I just wanted to get my 2 cents on this thing. But
all right.
Thanks for taking my call, Ben.
Thank you for calling in, man. Excellent points made. Let's go to another. Don't forget to hit the like button, fellas. Hit the like. And you can call in via the number that's on the left-hand portion of your screen, or international calls via StreamYard. 954, you're on the air. 954, what's on your mind?
Hey, what's up, BDA? Guys, how you doing on the panel?
Doing fantastic. Is this Chief?
Yeah.
Chief, why didn't you let me know? Because I don't know if you're available or not. So if you want to jump on the panel, just let me know.
I got a family event, so I wanted to call in instead. Since I wasn't on the panel, I'm going to go ahead and jump in and just give a phone call and then move on. I'll hit you up if the family event ends before you're done. But anyway, let's
just
move on
ditch
to
the family event, man. But anyway, yeah, go ahead.
What's that?
No, nothing. Stupid joke. Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
My daughter's singing tonight. I'm sorry. I love you, BDA, but she takes precedence over you. I love you.
All right.
That's just anyway. Having said that, so while I was at work, apparently the Munguia thing fell through, and I'm just finding this out now. I'm having a deja vu. We were talking this time last year about the Showtime card that was putting out there, and we're kind of dissing the Montiel fight when he was the number 4 ranked fighter, and he was the only one available because everybody else was busy. The difference is this time Munguia is available. Both sides can't see eye to eye. They could do a cross promotion if they wanted to, but the only time that's happened has been like Tyson, Lewis, and Manny and Floyd. And these guys don't have, just like Floyd back in the day when it came time to Casimir and Freitas, they don't have that kind of pull for both entities to say, yeah, we're going to split this down the middle. There's not going to be enough money generated from it, especially if they try and make it pay-per-view, because no one's going to buy these two guys. Not for the money that they're going to want to get and then have to divide. Because remember, the cable companies, if they take 50% of the revenue, right? Now they're going to have to split that 50% or take a higher cut. If they take a higher cut, how's either fighter going to get what they think they deserve to get in the ring?
Right.
Having said that, we're left with a card of interesting fights, but nothing that salivates you going, yep, I can't wait for that one. Again, 2 years in a row from Showtime. Like you said, they're a premier cable company. When HBO did it, HBO didn't go bankrupt. They just moved away from boxing and went streaming instead. When they were doing this, they paid the money to make better fights on their air. And Showtime's not doing it. It's not that they don't have any good fights, but they could have put some better. They anteed up a little bit. They put a little bit more money out there to make sure that guys like when De La Hoya would fight. I don't know what De La Hoya would pull down, but when he fought Ovakar and Derek Coley, they got $2.2 million apiece. So, what's up, Showtime? How come you can't up the ante a little bit more for the fights? If it's the fact that you can't, lose a profit, I understand that from the business perspective, but it seems to me like they're shelling out the minimum.
Well, like Jimmy's, like Jimmy's been saying, it seems like Showtime right now is winning boxing out of their schedule little by little and focusing more on the Bellator. That could have something to do with it.
It could, because they, like Jimmy said last year, they have so much money in the budget to do certain things because they're slightly streaming, but they're also they're premium network, but they're membership network. They're owned by CBS, but their money for Showtime is based off of subscriptions mostly.
Right.
So, are people going to be lining up to pay that much more? They're going to raise their prices. What are they going to do to offset the cost of making these fights? The fights that they can't afford are the fans are subsidizing. And that's the two pay-per-views. That's the Gervonta Davis and that's the Errol Spence fight.
It's an excellent point right there,
and
Chief.
that's all that's left.
Yeah, man. I mean, and it shouldn't be all that's left because the guy's got the PBC is supposed to have 120 something fighters on the roster, and they're not fighting each other. We're getting Anthony Dirrell versus Caleb Plant apparently. Come on.
I know. Look, PBC. We've been saying this for almost 2 years now. They've been saying it longer than I've been calling in because the boxing rate used to say it also. They have an aging stable of fighters, and everybody's getting to the early to mid 30s, and nothing really new is coming out because they don't have Jerron Ness. He might fight under their banner, but he's not their fighter. So I don't see any young talent coming out, and they're just giving us all these guys. These are their golden years in the ring. And they, like all of us have said, they haven't made their mark yet. I loved the Charlos coming up. I really did. But what PBC has done with them and what they may be not willing to do, because I really don't see them. I don't see them really. Even if they're calling guys out, PBC is not sending the contracts to back up their words. They have Jermall Charlo has not had a contract sent to Andrade, to Murata, to Canelo, or to Triple G. So you're just saying that you're showing us you can pronounce the English language by calling these guys' names out. That's great. What have you done to back it up? What have you put out there to for an official business challenge to make it official?
Absolutely.
And from what we know, what's hit the press, it's absolutely nothing. So now you have to differentiate yourself. So what are you going to do to make yourself special? Well, you have Andrade who's doing the same thing, and you won't fight him. You've got Benavidez who's in your company, and you won't fight him.
Yeah. Those are excellent points, man. Those are excellent points, Chief. I guess some of these people, they fell for the Mayweather hypno session where they thought they were going to become multi-millionaires just like Mayweather if they joined the PBC. But listen, Chief, we got to move on, man.
Yeah.
But if you want, if everything goes well...
I'll hit you up in a little bit.
All right, yeah. And by the way, your daughter, is your daughter actually, she's singing, right? It's not like a rap thing for school or anything? Okay, cool. All right, well, good luck to her, man.
School, yeah, but I'll talk to you later.
Yeah, good luck.
Yeah.
Good luck to her, man. Yeah.
Go, Gonzalo.
It's a bunch of charlatans, man. Most like con artists in real life, eventually they get caught. But with boxing and these guys and now Heyman, you could act like, okay, we didn't make the fights happen, but in the end of the day, okay, they're past their prime. They didn't fight anybody like real significant, but they fight somebody, not the best. But in the end of the day, they can still sail into the sunset and make it appear like, okay, we did something while they really didn't. So it's like it's a big act. They're a bunch of charlatans, and they're fucking like real fucking con artists. But at the end of the day, they're not gonna pay the price like con artists. Hey, I gotta go, guys. I have to go deliver a dog to General Santos. All my puppies sold, man. Everybody wants them. I gotta go take one.
All right,
so BDA, catch you on the next one. Jimmy, right. Bucho, BDA.
All right, Gonzalo, thank you for jumping in, man. Thank you for jumping in. Always appreciate it. Talk to you later, man. Yeah. All right. Well, listen, Gonzalo's got his dogs to sell. Hopefully they don't eat them. Yeah, go ahead, Jimmy.
Well, as I say, there's a lot of names omitted from that list too. There's no Broner. There's no Wilder. I mean, they have other champions. You know what I mean? And they're not on that list. When do they plan to fight? They don't have any Fox deals. So is that saying any other fight to be made from now until the PBC? Because they believe it's with Showtime 2 allotments. They come back and they add a few more again next spring. That's it. So everybody else who's going to fight is telling you it's going to be on a pay-per-view. So they have to either get an app. This is not sustainable. Not even saying this because, I don't like the PBC, which I don't like that company at all. And it's done nothing but bring boxing back as far as I'm concerned. But it's just not sustainable. They don't have you cannot do this. These fighters are starting to probably, I would imagine, get really pissed. And but you mentioned Broner, but he says he still wants to fight, but we've seen him recently in a wheelchair, so
yeah.
I think he's trying to pull a little scam.
But Jimmy, you made an excellent point. Wilder and who's the other guy you said? Well, anyway, I forgot. Wilder, he's not fighting.
Wilder, Broner.
Broner. Well, Broner, you know.
Yeah, you got a bunch of fighters still with the PBC who aren't even on that list.
Is Prograis still with the? Is Prograis still with the PBC, or is he a free agent?
Well, Prograis is it's almost like a boot tennis thing. He's you know what I mean. It's yeah, kind of. I guess I don't know. It's a weird situation with him because he started out under the PBC banner, but I don't know if his manager company. I don't know who he's with. Is it Probellum? So I don't know. I haven't seen him. He hasn't fought. Does he have? Yeah, he has a fight coming up too. That's right, he does. But I think it's on DAZN, isn't it?
I don't know. Well, I mean, I don't know. That's why I'm asking. It's a bizarre thing going on here, and I'm looking through the ratings here as well. They're matching, like I said, Caleb Plant, Anthony Durrell. I mean, I suppose they feel as if Plant needs a little bit of a soft touch after the Canelo fight, but still, it's a why not let him hold off? Wait to see what happens with Benavidez, Lemieux, and then make that fight. Or maybe they will make it down the line later on in the year. I don't know, but it's a bizarre thing here. All right, shout out to Mike T for his contribution with the Super Chat. He says, fuck the LDBC. Oh, that language. But I agree with you. I mean, it's they're not covering boxing, man. They're not helping. They're not helping us boxing fans make the best fights. They're just complaining about how Charlo is the most avoided guy in the world. So shout out to Mike T. Let's go to a phone call here. Let's go to 205. You're on the air. 205. What's on your mind?
What's up, BDA? What's happening, family?
No, Uncle Charles, man.
Man, what's going on, man? This has been a good show. I've been listening, man. Let me tell y'all something. See, when you're a professional fighter, you have to surround yourself with good people and people that going to put some money in your pocket. I find out, man, they're not paying these fighters much money. Look at Tyson Fury. Look at what his career was, and look at it now. And now he don't step in the ring unless he got $20 million in his pocket. And all these fighters, they do all this, and these Charlo brothers, they need to sit their ass down somewhere. You know what the Charlo brothers remind me of? I had my cousin had his twins over my house. They don't kick the damn hole in my wall. And I look through the hole in the wall, and I see somebody else's house across the street. They're some badass twins. They're just like action figures up on the shelf. As soon as you take them off there, they'll tear your damn house up. I don't put no thing into Charlo brothers. They ain't going to step in the ring with nobody that can possibly beat their ass. They ain't going to do it. But like I said, man, when you are a professional fighter now, you have to surround yourself with a promoter that going to put that money in your pocket. And another thing, too, it's more than one promoter. I don't understand why people are falling behind certain promoters when they're not treating you with what you deserve. And then when they do, you get in there and you give a subpar fight performance. This is what I'm saying, man. A lot of these boxers right now are not compared to the boxers back then. These guys today, they would have got ran over by Marvin Hagler. They would have got ran over by the Black Mama or Mayweather. They would have got ran over. These fighters are weak these days. You only got a few good fighters out there that can fight, that gonna give you a show, gonna give you what your money's worth. And I'm gonna tell you something, man. Let me tell you something. Look at where some of these fighters. Look at Crawford. Look at Spence. These guys are professionals. They keep them professionals, and whatever they ask for, they should get. But all these other guys, man, running around here like Adrian Broner. I just seen Adrian Broner sitting in a wheelchair, no shoes and socks on, and he butt naked. Now, what the hell is going on with that? What the hell is going on with that? See, all that wine, all the women, and all that stuff, you end up buck niggas in the chair, and somebody has to spend your money. Now, I got one more thing I got to say in closing. I heard Anthony Joshua say he wanted to make the fight with Deontay Wilder. Now I'm starting to believe now that Anthony Joshua brain is messed up from all them licks upside his head. You finna get in the ring with Wilder when Wilder is already embarrassed, mad, and you gonna get in there. I'm telling you, you gonna be right next side Adrian Broner, buck naked in that wheelchair, and you won't be able to come out the house no more. So leave that alone. Leave Deontay Wilder alone. He's an assassin right now. Leave him alone. I suggest to all you heavyweights, leave Deontay Wilder alone. He already embarrassed, and he gonna put you in the wheelchair. And that's all I got to say, mate.
Oh, well, that's Uncle Charles bringing the fire as always, on point. I don't think Uncle Charles ever been wrong. I cannot think of one time when I said, you know what, I think Uncle Charles is getting off the rocker a little bit. No.
Did you say Marvin Hagler? He said not like fighters like Marvin Hagler, right?
Absolutely.
Did you believe it's been a year? It's been a year this weekend since he's been gone. Crazy,
yeah, man. Fuck, yeah, that sucks, man. And I still wonder why, what happened there with old Marvin. What did he take? Did he take one too many jabs? If you know what I mean. You know what I mean. Yeah, man. Marvin Hagler passing away. Bob Saget too.
That's what they say.
Yeah, Bob Saget too. He fell ill and died, and now the family has sealed the records. They don't want anyone to know the details of what happened. What happened in that hotel room? We have a right to know. But yeah, Uncle Charles is on point, man. Look, I want to get back to that Anthony Joshua thing in a couple of minutes. But in regards to this PBC thing, Jimmy, I've been ever since 2 weeks ago, or actually since that whole thing started with you and Espinoza, I've been going on Twitter more and more. Usually I leave that stuff to Bucho, but I've been in there and I've seen, especially this Munguia versus Charlo fall off. There's not that many people defending Charlo. Now, maybe I didn't look in the right place, but have you seen people defending Charlo and casting the blame all on Munguia, or?
Well, yeah, from that Keith Thad, if you look at that, a lot of people did off that, but then again, Keith Thadlick, I think Idlick or whatever way you pronounce his name, he's a PBC guy, so he's going to have a lot of those followers. But in general, like in the general population of the cesspool known as Twitter, no, most people aren't, because most people have just had it. You know what I mean? I put it this way. You would think by just, from what like the LDBC and those fan channels will say, the new media will say that it's a duck, right? Canelo's a duck and everybody knows it. And then you go on to, Twitter, where they avoid, because they don't want to have to be held responsible for the words that come out of their mouth, with interaction with people. Then you go on there and then you see that 4,200 people in a poll. I just saw this tweet earlier, and 86% or 87% had Bivol beating Charlo, more than half, or half by knockout. So that whole narrative that they were pushing, that everybody knows, this is avoiding Charlo. No, nobody believes that. A small fraction, a fringe of the boxing people who don't buy pay-per-views, who don't support the the whole sport. We saw that with the recent Chocolatito fight. But yeah, so it's just they're a loud minority of them.
Exactly. You know what? Ring IQ's been saying that. He goes, look, boxing is a niche sport already to begin with. Now you got us here in the boxing community. We're an even smaller minority. We're a niche market. And the guys that are talking about race, and all the black fighters are being avoided. And you remember a couple of weeks ago, they started with they were trying to get that stuff trending, no black fighters or something like that, NBF. Like supposedly these promoters have an NBF agenda, no black fighters. They don't want. That didn't catch on.
It was written on. They said it was written on a grease board in Top Rank that Crawford saw it. The NBF, no black fighters.
Yeah, I believe that.
And then if you look, but if you look at the paper, you look at Showtimes. I see. Where's the black matchups there?
And where are the ratings?
Black guys.
And where are the ratings? Some of these guys that profess to follow boxing and instead just like to gossip, they don't even watch the gosh darn thing. They didn't even watch the big channels, supposedly big channels. They didn't even cover Loma Chocolatito Gonzalez fight. Now again, you don't have to cover every single fight out there, but geez Louise, I mean it's a pound for pounder fighting. You didn't even want to cover that. They would cover it. Yeah.
I think you should cover every fight when you call yourself the new media. Remember, that's the thing now. It's like they're replacing the old media. They badmouth all the old guys. Of course, Steve, Kim's a racist and Mike Montero's a racist. And that's their only card they get to play because they can't beat you on facts. So they have to go through, nebulous things that have no quantifier. So that's what they got. It's sad. It's divisive and it's ugly.
Well, I mean, look, when it comes to the internet, it's about offering something to everybody, right? There's channels out there that involve carpentry. There's channels that discuss comic books. There's some that discuss movies, NFL, and then you got those that like to engage in circle jerks. That's why they are, a lot of them. They're chambers, not echo chambers, jerk-off chambers. They love to jerk themselves off in there, talking about, we the best. Nobody wants to fight us, and gossiping. I mean, come on.
These aren't boxing channels. Yeah, they're not boxing channels. They're not. I mean, they focus on a few boxers that are African American, and then the rest of the time they're just, saying how like they're victims and nobody wants to fight them because they're the best, and that's the type of following that they have. That's why, like you said, that's why they didn't cover the Chocolatito fight, because they know their audience. They're not gonna tune in for that. They probably don't even know who he is.
Yep. Exactly. Yeah, I tell you what, if they went live talking about Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez, they would get less than half of the viewers they usually get, and less than the super chats. Fewer super chats, in other words. I guarantee you. It would be interesting to dig up some of their archives and see if they ever did try to cover those fights. Maybe that's how they learned their lesson. They go, fuck this, I'm not covering this.
I remember they some of these channels did mention Chocolatito, but they mentioned him when he lost against Rugvisai.
Oh.
And they were saying, this is the guy they had as the number 1 pound for pound. That's the guy you had number 1 pound for pound, and started laughing about it.
Well, remember, the reason that started off wasn't so much a race. That was, I believe, but it's still for the same vile reasons. But they didn't like Chocolatito because in the beginning he was with HBO, remember? So they would dog any HBO fighter because they were from PBC who was with Showtime. So they went along those lines. It wasn't just race; it was anybody who was off Showtime. Well, but yeah, they kept that going with Chocolatito. They badmouthed him all the time. It was crazy. Also, too, Bucho, I think it's because he was coming close to Mayweather's 50-0. Remember, and that was getting a lot of people fucking
Well, post Mayweather, they wanted Crawford as the number 1 pound for pounder and Andrew Ward. And if you had somebody that was an African American, if he was placing that number 1 position, they would go crazy.
But you know what, man?
Yeah.
You're right about that, Bucho. You're right. I think some of these people are up in the networks. I think they're overestimating their audience. I'll tell you what I mean by that. Ring IQ's been saying that too. He's saying, look, these people that they're talking about, Charlo's being avoided, blah, 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 and then their ratings aren't all that. So it's a niche market we're talking about here. There are not that many people, even within the niche market that is boxing, right? Then you have people like Espinosa firing Paulo Malignaggi because they're afraid of the pressure because of what he said, which wasn't even controversial to begin with. And who was it else? Thunderdome was talking about how the other day, that was funny, he was showing clips of Shakur Stevenson doing some interview on the internet, I forget where it was, and he was talking, like, I really didn't understand what he was saying. There was a lot of ebonics, there were a lot of slang. And then Thunderdome goes, yeah, but then you listen to him when he's on with Top Rank and doing press conferences. All of a sudden, he sounds like a different person. So it seems like they look at the LDBC and they think, whoa, these are the biggest channels in the YouTube. They're probably, it's probably worth it to endear ourselves to them. But they don't understand that half of their audience doesn't even follow boxing. They don't, pay for Showtime. They don't pay for the pay-per-views. They don't pay for the zone. Some of them even admit it. I don't pay for the zone. I don't pay for the zone. They got shit fights. It's because you don't know who's fighting.
That's a good point. I think they didn't do the research properly, and they just looked at the numbers of those channels, and they assumed that these channels, all of these viewers are boxing fans, but they're not. They really have to listen to these channels to understand what they stand for.
Absolutely.
It was not that long ago. Somebody said, seriously, check, punching in YouTube, hashtag LDBC, hashtag DAZN. And all the videos that came up, the most watched by far were all the ones of the DAZN's going out of business. Fucking DAZN failed. It was when Hearn came out and said we have to, start tightening up the belt because, they were drawing back on, it was Triple G isn't getting his money he was promised. Like they were just celebrating it. That one channel, BFFB, he went like berserk on making those. Yeah, they just it was crazy. It was just they hated the zone. They hated anything that was challenging the PBC. And again, like you said, clearly they don't buy the pay-per-views because those guys aren't selling them. So like, there's a reason they have to match these guys up with Mexican fighters. I mean, let's just not fucking dance around the subject. They have to.
It's an excellent point, Jimmy. I mean, look at the pay-per-view. Now, they like to rely on the gate. They love to talk about those Tank Davis gate numbers and how he had more than 10,000 people, was it?
Yeah, well, it was both arenas in Atlanta and again in Los Angeles seat 21,000. The most ever is Sergio Mora against Fernando Vargas, and they did 20,080 not Fernando, not Vargas, but you know what I mean, the kid who fought Oscar De La Hoya too soon.
No, I think. Well, anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, but so they sold. They're the highest gross. I mean, most people there at 21,086. So both those buildings for boxing and wrestling seat 21,000. What they did at both places was paper off the upper bowl and then claim it to be a sellout. Like you just sell a certain amount of tickets and then you say, well, we sold all the ones we were selling. So it's not technically, they're not lying because we were only selling, but they're only saying that because that's what they sold. And that's not true because at one point those bowls were for sale. Because like Jim Boone said, one day all of a sudden they just evaporated off the screen. The whole top bowl came off the screen like, I guess they ain't selling those anymore because they realized 4 or 5 days out nobody was buying them. And that's when they started filling the rest of the seats in with giveaways and, Groupons. I mean, people were tweeting all the time. I got this seat, face value on it's $300. I paid $50 for it the day of the fight. So, yeah, they do what they have to get it in, but everything about that company, they're not transparent. Nothing's out in the open. I don't know. It gets very frustrating. And then you wait for the big reveal and to get this. It's so deflating.
People buy the BS is what you're saying. I mean, just look at, I don't have the tweet here with me, but people can check it out. Leonard Ellerby not that long ago saying that Tank Davis vs. Romero is going to be the biggest boxing event of the year.
Yep.
I wouldn't be surprised if by fight week, Jimmy, it gets some more traction because both guys are going to do their share of trash talk. And I think Gervonta Davis is very quiet so far, but eventually he's going to start getting pissed off. I don't think he's going to stay within his shell. So I think that might get some traction going on the internet, but whether that translates to the biggest event of boxing in the year, I mean...
And look where they're holding it, though, this time, too, which is an odd... I mean, if you can have it in New York City, you have it in Madison Square Garden. They're having it at the frickin' Barclays, which is a pain in the ass to get to if you're not from New York. And it's just, they haven't done great numbers. The biggest selling, I think they did 15-something thousand, Thurman Garcia. So I don't see how that fight's going to do more than that. I mean, I was Barclays after giveaways and everything probably do around 13,000, which is respectable, but nowhere near the biggest event. Fuck, Charlo. I mean, Canelo did 73,000 in Texas. That's more than double both Spence's fights in the same arena.
But don't forget, Jimmy, though, Ellerby said when he talked to his barber, he said his favorite fighter was Tank Davis. When he talked to his daughter's teacher, she said Tank Davis. So, Tank Davis is a salt-of-the-earth type guy.
Yeah, and he's got his ear to the, Because did you see that interview? Well, listen, it's the years of I'm not going to teach him how to do this. This is stuff you learn. I don't care what boxing Twitter has to say or hardcore fans. That's just a small fringe. We're thinking outside the box. A bunch of word salad to say we are scared shit of matching this kid against anybody who could take his O because that's what we're banking on. Everything's the O until they can cash it out against one of the big fights. Hopefully, God willing, fucking Loma comes to his senses and gets the fuck out of that disaster situation.
Yeah, that's another thing there, right there. Shout out to Michael Poe for his contribution to the Super Chat. He says, shekels for the family and friends. Hello, Jimmy and BDA and Bucho. Hope news is not worth watching. unless it's a nuclear deal. Oh, well, shout out to you, Michael Poe. And you're right. Don't stay often. Yeah, you don't want to, what they call it, doom scroll, which is where you every day you go to see the worst news, because that's what they offer you right now. In mainstream media, remember, bad news sells more than good news. So stay away from that mainstream news, or if you're going to watch it, limit the amount of time you're there, because it can really drive you nuts. So shout out to Michael Poe for his contribution. Shout out to Kenshiro for his contribution as well. And he says, Jimmy is wrong. The LDBC can't buy pay-per-view with food stamps. Ah, come on, Kenshiro, man. I mean, come on. Nah, come on. That's not.
Hey, hold up.
Yeah, that's right. I do. Hold up, man. You can't make those type of jokes. But I appreciate the contribution nonetheless, Kenshiro, and I completely agree with everything you're saying. Now, but listen, Rolly Romero, though, I'm sort of starting to get convinced here, Jimmy. He's smarter than he lets on. Because I don't know if you saw a video where a guy goes, one of his sparring partners goes, hey, you got to give Tank respect. And the guy goes, don't talk to me about respect. There's no respect here. And he threatened to kick the guy at the gym if he brought that up again. And then he was bath-mouthing Tank Davis, and he goes, I only know 20. I only got 20 words in my vocabulary, and 12 of those are swear words. The guy's actually coming up with some gems, man. Maybe not the best gems, but I mean, what do you think, Jimmy? You think he's going to sell the fight?
I think somebody's writing it for him. I mean, because I watched him live with Tank, and it was cringeworthy. So fuck you, man. You little short dude, huh? I thought Tank was going to get up and slap him right across his face. Like, it was just with that fur on in 90-degree weather. I mean, he's a shit talker. Yes, his wacko personality is what. If there's anything that sells a fight, it's that. I mean, I think he should just come in with his name tag and his hockey helmet on.
Oh,
that was fucking.
Jimmy, how many times are you going to say that, man?
Because I think he's fucking seriously. I'm telling you, that motherfucker took the little bus to school. That dude, oh man, he struggles to put together coherent sentences.
Hey, I
just can't believe this fight's happening. What's that?
Is this fight going to sell?
Yeah, they'll sell to a certain percentage. I think it'll be in the same category of not. They won't announce the pay-per-views. I don't see this thing selling more than 60,000. And if it sells under 100, they can't. And again, it just reaffirms that the fact that every time we know the fucking pay-per-view doesn't do well, and Mike Coppinger's sources suddenly go quiet, but when it's 320,000, 300, his sources are loud and clear. So again, proves, I think, validates what I've always said. He's been getting those numbers directly from the PBC, obviously. Because if you like Rick Glacier or anybody else and you have your sources, those numbers are there regardless. But only when they're not doing well, his sources don't come out with the numbers. So either his sources have actually told him and he doesn't release them so he doesn't insult the PBC, or it's the PBC who's giving them to him. Either way, he's a shill. How do you justify it? And if he comes out now with these new numbers and on the good side, that just, I don't know.
Hey, shout out to Tommy Boxell for his contribution with the super chat. He says, "So BD Boxing and the gang watching BD Boxing all the way from Montreal, Canada." Oh, fellow Montrealer right there from Tommy Boxell. Hadn't heard from him in a while.
Tommy,
thank you for your contribution, man. Really appreciate it, and hope you're staying warm. It's still a little cold over here in Canada, but nonetheless, things are starting to heat up. Jimmy, in regards to so shout out to Tommy, man. Really appreciate it. In regards to what you said about the Romero thing, Davis, I think it's got to sell a little bit, right? Like you said, because I don't know. I get the feeling this is a type of trash talking that can really get some of the Zoomers, especially the Zoomers, on board the Romero train. Or do you think that's too much to hope for?
I think you're holding out a little hope. I just don't think. Well, Tank doesn't have much of a personality, but he was at one time a really good fighter. But I don't know. It's embarrassing. I mean, you don't usually hear Steve give it that. I mean, did you hear Steve? He's like, he was shocked. And Steve, every word Steve says, like, he doesn't just say anything for filler. Like, on this show, we just say things sometimes just to, get a rise and shit. Like, everything he says, he thinks about before he says it, because he knows people will quote what he says. So for him to say it's criminal that they're actually allowing this fight, the fact that it's on pay-per-view just brings it to a whole new level. You know what I mean? Like, this kid is not good. He's not a good boxer at all.
Well, Jimmy, somebody in the chat is telling me to ask you guys, can you ask how can Davis get better as a fighter when all his opponents are being padded to be fed to him?
You don't. That's the problem. Dude, everybody, like, don't take my word for it, right, guys? Can't you see a marketable difference in Canelo in every way? The way he carries himself outside the ring, his confidence, the stalking of people after the Triple G fights, right? Just kind of changed him, like in the aura even around him, in his abilities. He became less of a boxer puncher and more of a stalker, right? Just like waiting to lower the boom. You never went into Canelo fight 7 years ago saying, what round is he going to stop him in? That's pretty much what everybody's been doing with his fights, even up at 168. So, yeah, he's just kind of, it does. You get better when you play better. I don't give a fuck what sport it is. If it's baseball, hockey, football, you're better when you play against better competition, and it brings the best out of you.
That's right. Just like the old players, right? Just like the old hockey players like Guy Lafleur and who are the other names?
Guy Lafleur, Maurice Marchand.
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, these guys, they stay. Look at what happened to Charlo. Long time after out of the ring, not fighting the best, and then all of a sudden he starts trolling with a guy that he should have run over. Let's go to the phone lines real quick here. We got a phone call here. And don't forget that like button, fellas. Hit the like, call in via StreamYard if you're outside North America, or with the number that's in the middle portion of your screen if you are in North America. All right, 351, you're on the air. 351, what's on your mind?
What's going on, guys? Can you hear me?
Yes, indeed, man. Oh, is this Michael?
Thunderdome?
Yeah, no, Mike Poe.
Yes, indeed, Mike Poe. Thank you for calling in, man. What's on your mind?
Yeah.
Michael.
No, I'm using headphones to see if I could hear you guys better, so it seems to be working out. I was kind of curious as to your opinion about Dillian White and Fury selling out as quickly as they did. Now, how true is that, and how much are they blocking that Wembley Stadium off? Or did they really get the sales they're claiming they got? Anybody know?
Sorry, you cut off a little bit. Which fighter are you referring to?
Dillian White Fury, the Wembley Stadium. Did they sell out as much as they said, or are they cutting Wembley off?
Well, you know what? It's pretty fortuitous that you asked that question, because we just got Stu back. Stu, are you aware of how the sales have been going for Wembley Stadium?
You could
fly over.
You could stick a couple of guys in there with no fucking legs, and it's selling the UK. I mean, we've got the habit of just buying fights that have got a lot of Khan Brooks sold out in a few minutes. I mean, we all knew that them two guys were shot to pieces, and it wasn't going to be the spectacle we expected back in the day. But it sold out. I mean, let's be real, that will sell out quick. I mean, we're a nation that just loves our boxing, always have done. I mean, just boxing and football. I mean, most alpha males. I mean, I don't know about the toughness. One second, bro. Most alpha males in the UK. I don't know about these wusses that wear pink shirts and all. I don't know about them. But most alpha males, it's football, soccer, and boxing, and rugby. You know, they're the sports you get brought up. And boxing, like I said, my first present I can remember was a Star Wars fucking figure and a pair of boxing gloves. So I mean, we'll always fill fights. I mean, look at Lewis Ritson. I mean, that guy. I mean, Josh Warrington, 30,000 going to watch Josh Warrington. You know what I mean? That's just madness. We are a good supporting when it comes to boxing.
That's right.
Yes, I was gonna fly over, but I'm afraid if I go by myself, I'm gonna get lost. So.
Well, that's why you got fucking use Google Maps then. What do you mean get lost? Well, what do you mean get lost? We're not in the fucking 1800s. Use your fucking phone and Google Maps. What's wrong with you, man?
Yeah, Michael Poe.
This guy's using a compass to get to directions, isn't he?
Yeah, Mike, I think you've been watching too much Taken. No one's going to kidnap you and prostitute you. I think you'll be all right.
No. BD, you know what it was? Last minute planning, and I'm trying to throw it all together.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's not feasible.
Yeah, I got you. It's probably sold out. I have to check out the news, but like you said, there's some people are saying that it hasn't been sold out. Some people are saying that it, yeah.
Right. And then what am I going to do? Depend on a scalp or not?
It has been sold out.
And then I'll have yeah. So I'm going to enjoy it. But I had one question, but it's not really relevant because nobody knows. Has anybody heard about AJ's next opponent or Usyk? What's happening? Probably nothing more than I do.
Well, right now, fucking Usyk's John Rambo, isn't he, in fucking Ukraine? So he's not going to be about any time soon. I mean, the noise is Joe-Joyce.
Anyway,
Joe-Joyce is the noise. I mean, listen, hang on a sec, caller. 1 sec. Don't ask the question, then talk over me when I'm replying. Even Usyk now, I mean, Anthony Joshua cannot expect. Oh, here we go. Anthony Joshua cannot expect to fight Usyk when he's been in the fucking war zone. You know what I mean? I mean, to talk about fighting someone when they're emotionally not in the right place. So for me, Joshua's got to move on from the Usyk until he comes back. If he comes back, you never know, mate. Do you know what I mean? But Joe-Joyce seems to be the name on the cards, and that's not a bad fight for me. There's not really a lot of options out there, is there, for him at the moment? Wilder.
Yeah,
I mean, I'd like to see Wilder. I'd like to see him with Wilder.
I'd pay to see either one, yeah, for sure. Well, listen, guys, thank you for letting me on. I don't want to kill my minutes, but I appreciate you guys, Jimmy, Stu, and everybody else. BDA,
right.
Buccio, thank you, guys.
All right, Michael, thank you for calling in. Excellent questions.
Man. Thank you, Mike.
Take care, man. Take it easy out there. Yeah, that's
and
the...
Mr. BDA,
yes.
I just got to say, too, because it's box related, so obviously it's, but with the Ukraine, what's bothering me, too, some Russian soldiers, even...
No, Jimmy, please.
No, listen,
please.
No, this is boxing related. It was coming to Lomachenko. This is what's scaring me, why we might not get him back.
Okay.
Because of Klitschko going on television. He's now, he's showing up on ABC, Fox. I'm worried that they might get the word, get the boxer. Get that, you know what I'm saying? So, they might hear back at the lines, because they have people infiltrating into the city where these guys are to find out where they are, and then they're bombing it, supposedly. That's, I guess, how they're doing shit to try to do. So, what happens if the word is, there's a boxer down there, and it's not Vitaly, it's Lomachenko, and they just barrage it with missiles. So, I'm not talking about the Ukrainian shit, but I'm worried for Lomachenko. Of all things, it's bad enough they're there, Usyk or Lomachenko, but then you have a fucking boxer who's becoming, after Zelensky, the face of the war in America. So it's just not good, brother.
Listen, it's not like they're going to be in the you're not going to see pictures of Klitschko doing the platoon when he gets shot in the back as he's going to the helicopter. He's not going to be in those sort of battles. He's going to be in an office somewhere to put a few files. They don't put slip. I mean, they just won't do it.
The thing is, though, they're surrounding the cities, and once they get them fully in, how do they get out? You know what I mean? They're allowing everybody to leave, and I'm just worried if they don't get out when they have the chance, and if they stay. Like they say they're going to, right to the last time. I mean, it's sad. It's just not going to, and I just can't believe it's happening to two of the best boxers, probably best boxers alive today.
I'm not going to get into this because obviously it's a boxing show, but I don't see that lasting too much longer, to be fair. I mean, and again, I wasn't talking about the political end. Yeah, I think this is going to come to an end soon. I just don't see, where the Russians are going to go in and fucking guns blazing looking for Usyk and Klitschko. I mean, I just don't think that.
Klitschko was number 7. He was number 7 on the list that fell into their hands. There was a list they got, and because he was the mayor and all the shit he was saying, so they wanted to get rid of government people plus anybody else, activists and people who were being loud on social media. So that was already Klitschko to begin with. So that just worries me that if they just put the word out that there's a boxer in Odessa, let's get him.
Yeah. Hey, by the way,
wrong boxer.
Pete in the chat.
I don't think we're going to see a film in a couple of years called Saving Private Klitschko. Don't worry about that, man.
Well, Pete in the chat says they're going to be on the lookout for anybody with a Lloyd Christmas haircut playing with a Rubik's Cube. Yeah, that's how they're going to find fucking Usyk. He does look like Lloyd Christmas a little bit. Not only by the haircut, but with that teeth. He's got that gap between the teeth. Hey, listen, fellas, let's go to the phone lines real quick. Then I got a couple of other subjects we can throw around here. So don't forget to hit the like button, fellas. Hit the like. Oh, my goodness, that guy just... All right, 818. I was going to answer you, but you just fell through. So if you want to keep calling, call again. By the way, we got... Don't forget, if you want to call in within North America, the number's on the left-hand portion of your screen. If for international callers, go on the StreamYard. I put the link in there. A couple of comments from the chat here. Epodokua says, Klitschko has been a hater. He needs to step off Russian boxers. Mini Tap says, Ukraine president is a puppet. Giles Wilson says, Putin is the new Hitler. And so on and so forth. All right, so you see that Russia discussion really stirred up a bunch of responses here. The other thing I wanted to bring up here, Stu, because I don't think you were here when we were talking about this the other day. Anthony Joshua, to answer Mike Paul's question, Anthony Joshua and his promoter Eddie Hearn have been throwing around the idea of fighting either Usyk, if they can get him out of the war zone, Joyce, Wilder, or even Luis Ortiz. Now, Joyce and Joshua have been getting into a bit of a war here on Twitter, and this is what Joyce replied, because apparently AJ intimated that he'd gotten the best of Joyce in sparring. So Joyce said this: "Are you having a meltdown? Where are all your belts? All those sponsorships and endorsements helping? Your glass cannon. Quit the act. You were given everything."
Oh, he's got a point. Look, Anthony Joshua still had to go out there and do the business. I mean, you can be given everything on a plate all you like. I mean, you could give it to me on a plate. I want to get knocked the fuck out in a round. You know, you still got to be a good fighter. You still got to work hard. Joshua, like, things have gone his way. The Olympics went his way for a start. He got a couple of dodgy decisions in that. He's been funded by the GB Olympic team, which is good funding, and obviously he's had the best promoters. He's had the best of everything. You know, everything's been put on it, and it helps. And Joe Joyce has had to go the hard way. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I still won't. I still can't believe that, you know, Joshua's been given those titles. He hasn't been given. He's earned them, and he fought some good guys. You know, this is not guys who had everything handed on. Like Lucian Boutte, that guy, fucking had everything handed on the plate. Even skipped a tournament that everyone fought in, waiting to fight the scraps after when they'd all killed each other, and he wanted to step in and fucking take the glory, didn't he? And then got mutilated by Frotch in Nottingham. But you know, then sort of guy, I don't think he's one of them. You know, you got to give Joshua credit. He's fought. Look at the guys he's fucking fought. He fought fucking Klitschko, Usyk. He's fought Dillian White. He's fought Povetkin. You know, the fucking list goes on and on, man. Do you know what I mean? So yeah. He has had things that goes by. But Joe Joyce is his own fault. And as for sparring, I mean, I don't really care what happens in sparring, because Amir Khan was telling us for years what he did to Kell Brook, but we all know what happened when the real deal was happening. So, you know, I don't really care too much about sparring. I know that Joshua's got to get him out there earlier, because the longer Joe Joyce is in there, the stronger he's going to come on in the latter round. I can see his tank starting to go. And when Joshua starts to get tired, he loses his shape. His shape goes, he gets sluggish, you know, and he sort of like freezes a little bit. And I think he could be in trouble, because Joe Joyce is just like a steam train. He just keeps plodding along, and he snatches your soul, sort of thing. I mean, when he's hitting these guys, it don't really look like he's doing much. You're thinking, they don't look impressive on the eye, do they? I mean, you're thinking, what the fuck was that? But it's doing damage. Everyone's chipping at the tree, sort of thing. And, yeah, it's going to be a tough fight for Joshua, that. But that's the fight I want to see. I mean, who else is going to fight? We got White. I mean, Battle of Britain there, man. We got White Fury, and we got Joshua versus Joyce. I mean, fucking two massive fights for the UK, and yeah, I'm up for them ones.
Yeah, man, like you said, look, AJ, say what you want about the guy. He's fought the best. He lost once, and before, in 2019, he came back and avenged it. He wants to avenge that second loss that he suffered against Usyk. So you got to give this guy credit, man. But I'm still mystified by how he became so popular, even just in the going into the Olympics. Do they push these guys like how do they capture the imagination of the people?
Oh,
it's
mate,
hard to say.
Well, everywhere you went, the fucking guy had his six-pack out. You go billboards, or he's sitting there with his six-pack on, put the TV on, he's got his six-pack out trying to sell you headphones or a car. I mean, let's be real, he's a good-looking lad, isn't he? You know, he's a good-looking guy, he's ripped to fuck. You know, he's a yes boy, so everything that the media like. And he's been pushed along, isn't he? I mean, just be real, Joe Joyce, I mean, do you really want to listen to Joe Joyce for any longer than a couple of minutes? I mean, the fucking guy could talk until last night of sleep. So, you know, it's about character. I think Joshua just suits the media agenda, just be a yes boy, innit? Anyone that's got, like Tyson Fury, they tried to outcast him because he said something about homosexuals and stuff. You know, Tyson Fury's the bad guy. But Joshua's the good guy. You know, the ex-drug dealer was the good guy. So, yeah, I mean, I'm not... I don't care, to be fair. I think Joshua's earned... everything Joshua's earned in his life, I think he's earned it, you know. I think he's earned it. You know, he doesn't shy away. He doesn't shy away from challenges, and that's what we want from our fighters. You know, like I said, if you haven't got defeats on your record, you're not fighting the right people. And Joshua's definitely fighting the right people. Best resume in the heavyweight division for me. So
Stu,
you've got to give him some credit.
do you think that AJ, because he's mainstream, one of the best, biggest stars in boxing, do you think he had to do some like questionable stuff to get there?
Oh yeah, well, you want about them Illuminati parties that we've been hearing about? Yeah, I don't know about that. I mean, you never know. Barry Hearn might have took him to fucking Epstein's Island. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Hey, by the way, Giles Wilson in the chat says Stu is finally giving credit to AJ.
Look, I've never had a problem with AJ. I've just his fans. I mean, they're like fucking. AJ fans remind me of, you know, back in the 60s, the Beatles fangirls, the girls that used to like the Beatles and they used to scream when they used to see him. That's what the AJ fans are like. It's like they've got this homosexual like lust for the guy. I mean, you can't criticise the guy. He does things wrong. I mean, if he didn't do things wrong, he wouldn't have got fucking bashed all over the place by Ruiz and schooled by Yusuf. Of course, he's not perfect. I mean, they'd like to think different, you know. But I found it a bit corny, some of these. But as a guy, man, I mean, I like Joshua. I like him as a fighter.
I remember after the he lost to Ruiz, you didn't jump on the show because it was too late, but you were you were trashing Joshua. I mean, you were like, man, fuck this in the chat. You're like, fuck this idiot.
I mean, come on, man. I mean, fucking hell, man. It was a joke, weren't it? I mean, fuck me. He was doing the old Jackie Wilson every time he got touched. I mean, he had a panic attack. You know, he had a panic attack. It was just a shambles, wasn't it? Falling all over the fucking shop. It was like David A when he fought Klitschko, just falling over every fucking 30 seconds. It was just a joke, man. And look, this is a guy that looked invincible at one time. I'll tell you where he was. Another guy that stepped away from what he did good to try and look slick. It's like Ben Davison had a word with him. The way he started just boxing from the outside and getting picked off. He hasn't got the footwork or the agility to fight on the back foot. He needs to fight like Canelo does. Stroll forward behind the guard, pivoting and dipping and dodging and land the big ones. He doesn't want to be sitting there fucking throwing out the slick jab on his toes. You know, it's not his style. He's too robotic for that. He's got no rhythm and I think that's what if he'd stuck to how he fought Klitschko. All right, he's vulnerable. He can walk on the right. He was exciting and he was getting these guys out there. I mean, that fight against Ruiz in the second fight, and everyone was, what a perfect performance. No, it was atrocious and fucking dreadful to watch. I didn't pay to watch that.
You're absolutely right, man. I mean, listen, this Joshua, he does the big ratings. People love him over there, but I gotta tell you, man, he's like fragile guy. Despite all the muscle, Lennox Lewis was a little bit of the same way, but except he was more of a, you know, he wasn't averse to clinching when he got in trouble, so he could bore the crap out of people.
Look, the thing is with Lennox Lewis, one fight you'll get him and he'll stink the fucking joint out. And then you'll get him in another fight, like against Galata, where he's explosive, or Michael Grant was explosive, and he looked fucking $1 million. I mean, he was very. It's how he felt when he got up in the morning, Lennox Lewis. Everything was too laid back with him. He fucking used to smoke weed, and he used to fall asleep before fights. You know, it's too laid back for me. And let's be real, he looked like fucking Barry White when he fought Hatton in South Africa.
Yeah, man. Hey, by the way, in the chat, Miyagi Fat Ghost says, AJ shitting on that useless muscle. I think he'll be more mobile now. He was always so stiff. Yeah, absolutely, man. Too much muscle, especially when he was... I think the excuse from him was that he'd bulked up so much because he thought he was going to fight Miller, who's close to 300 pounds. But yeah, he didn't look good. Nobody's really going to look that good when they're that big, especially muscle bound like that. Takes a lot of oxygen. Giles Wilson in the chat says, I was agreeing with you guys until you started talking about Ben Davis. Nobody's talking about Ben Davison. What are you talking about, man?
The best, man. Fucking. I bet when he wakes up in the morning, he goes to his little dressing table, isn't it? And he's got a little picture in the corner of the mirror of fucking Ben Davison, and he's fucking weirdo. Get out of here, man. I mean, lusting over this fucking clown. Let's be real. Maybe one decent performance from one of his fighters. Tyson Fury Wilder nearly got the guy killed. Josh Taylor got his ears boxed up, made Jack Cattle look like Pernell Whitaker. Then you got Wood last night, who, if it weren't for his chin, he'd still be asleep now. I mean, come on, man, fuck's sake. I mean, what has this guy done? No wonder he's fucking jumped in the middle of the ring, hugging him in tears. He was thinking, fuck me, I got away with that one, didn't I? I got it wrong again, didn't I? It's one of them ones, you know. This guy's a clown, man.
somebody was telling me in the Discord that because people are theorizing, why are so many people so many fighters jumping on the Ben Davison bandwagon? Now, Jimmy seems to believe that he hypnotizes these guys, or that he knows how to talk them into it. Because let's face the fact, some of these boxers listen, it takes a lot of intelligence to be a boxer, or a certain type of intelligence, but they're also susceptible to scam artists. Now, I'm not saying Ben Davison is a scam artist, but he might have the same type of qualities that the scam artist does, in the sense that he can persuade people. Other people are saying that because he's with...
what's the film with Leonardo DiCaprio when he used to pretend he was a pilot and all sorts, and was it Catch Me If You Can one?
Yeah, Catch Me If You Can.
Yeah, I think he's
Go ahead, Jim.
Oh, I was going to say, I just think he's a slick talker. I think he sells himself as strength and conditioning. And, I mean, maybe he is good at that. Maybe he's good at getting guys in shape. I haven't seen any of his fighters, but I haven't really, broke down his fighters.
Right.
But I think it's a combination of that. And, he's not afraid to talk. I mean, every time the camera's on him, if they ask a fighter, be like, you can see him like, oh, okay, I don't care. All right, I'll wait for you. He's dying to talk. He's obviously got the gift for gab, and I think he melts a lot of these. And all it took was that one, get Tyson. That's all it took. And then
that's right.
Maybe guys might say, I'll sit down with him. And I think he just convinces a lot of people. He's one of those dudes he'll make you believe what you want to believe.
Who the fuck does this clown think he is, right? He's sitting there telling Freddie Roach what to do. Telling Freddie Roach how it should be done. This fucking guy that was the basketball coach probably 2 years ago. He's probably watched a few Burt Sugar DVDs, and now all of a sudden he's a fucking genius, right? The guy is telling Freddie Roach. Freddie Roach had the right idea. His game plan would have got played in the night in the first one. Ben Davison's the only reason that fight we had the third tooth. You want to thank him for that. Because let's be real, if he'd have gone with Sugar Hill in the first fight, there wouldn't have been any need for a fucking second and third.
That's true.
I mean, Ben Davison made that trilogy by being completely fucking useless.
And then let's be honest. His last two fighters, and his last two guys were losing. I mean, most people believe Taylor lost, and this other dude, if he didn't knock out the boy out of the ring, he was going to lose that fight on the cards. So both his fighters, you know what I mean? So one won by a gift, and the other one won because fucking he was able to put him away. But I don't know. I haven't seen anything his fighters have done.
Mate, he can turn Ray Robinson into fucking Ray Charles in a night, can't he? I mean, that's...
Butcher in the chat says Ben Davison uses MK Ultra. Yeah, he's got the MK Ultra techniques, man. He's got the Clockwork Orange type hypno. Giles, he keeps going. He says Roach respected Ben, but you guys can't. Twats. Oh, come on, you're gonna call me a twat? What? I mean, I don't mind if you call everybody else on the panel twat, but not me, man. I'm actually gonna.
Yeah, how do you know Freddie respected him? He was fucking butler or something. You the one who's giving him his fucking wine at night or something, and his food. How do you know? Look, I'll tell you what. I think Freddie Roach was. That's why he backed off Tyson Fury. He thought, I'm not fucking sitting there going 50-50 with this little fucking clown. Get this kid back in his cot and let me do what I do best. Try and tell Freddie how to train. Man, the guy's a fucking clown. I tell you what, Josh Taylor as well. Josh Taylor deserved that schooling for going with him in the first place when he should have gone with Alan Booth.
Stu, at least this guy didn't call us bellends. That's what I'm.
Well, he's calling us twats. Then why doesn't he call the show and explain exactly what Ben Davis that he has seen Ben Davis do that has changed these fighters for the better? If he can do that, I will eat my words. I'll say you're right. You just yes.
You need balls to do it. To ring in and give your opinion. You need a bit of balls, and this guy just hasn't got any, man. I mean, let's be real. He'd have to cough to get them out. You know what I mean? Come on, man. He ain't going to ring in. So Giles, I mean, when you call Giles, I'm surprised he's even in the box. He should be in the fucking croquet or hockey or something like that.
Are people from are Watford fans tough? Are they renowned for their fighting skills in the rafters or
who?
Watford fans are they tough or?
Well, they're not. Well, has anyone heard of how Watford go into a city and turning it over? No, fucking.
Well, I don't know.
Right, listen. I mean, let's be real. I mean, I'm sure Millwall went shitting themselves when they're playing Watford at the weekend. You know what I mean? Come on, man.
Yeah, but
Stu, I got you. Hey, Stu, I got to say, you mean field hockey, not ice hockey, right? Like when you made a joke, you said you should be into hockey. You meant field hockey.
Field hockey.
Okay,
No, I thought
right, brother.
Yeah, I thought it out of mouthful. That's field hockey.
There you go, brother.
Where you touch the leg and it's a free kick. Fuck out of it.
Well, let me go to a phone call here real quick, see what we got, because the last time we waited too long, the person fell out. Let's go to 914. You're on the air. 914. What's on your mind?
What's up, guys? It's Fernando. What's going on?
Fernando, man. What's up?
I don't think this gets talked about a lot, but you guys are... So the question was, like, how does Ben Davison get a lot of these fighters to come to him to be under his tutelage, right? And I'm going to reference a Frank Warren interview. I think it's on IFL. So you guys are familiar with the management company MTK Global, right?
Yes.
So,
yeah, well,
Ben...
You're talking about the Irish Mafia?
Ben is like,
you're talking about the Irish Mafia?
Well, I'm not going to say any of that, but he's a core component of he's basically talent related. Like, I look at him as talent relations within the MTK company. And one thing that Frank Warren said really stuck to me. He said, the way MTK works in the United States is totally different from how they work in the United Kingdom. Frank Warren said the purses gets dispersed to MTK Global first. And then from MTK, like the money trickles down to the fighters. So I'm saying that to say this.
Even Kugan Cassius, he's part of it as well.
Factor in why fighters go to Ben Davison.
Well, the thing is, though, I mean, I'm not sure that is the fact. They've probably got management team persuading them. It's one of these where Ben goes in there. He's that friend, isn't he? Let's be real, because boxers don't want someone that's going to shout and scream at them and tell them what they're doing wrong and fucking put it on them. Like a man who stood him used to do that, but he was strict, and if you didn't stick by the code, you were gone. No matter who you were. I mean, he got rid of Gerald McCullen because McCullen wouldn't stick by the rules. They don't want trainers. They want little yes boys or who's their mates. When it's getting a bit tough, you can say, "Oh, can I skip today?" And Ben's like, "Yeah, go on then." You know what I mean? As long as I get paid. You know what I mean? Look, this is the thing. He's like more like a friend than a trainer to him. It's like Tyson Fury. He just needed someone to fucking talk about his drug habit with.
Can you picture Lou Duva or somebody fucking dry humping the fighter in the middle of the ring like that? Stop playing Dissy in the background. You know what I mean? I'm like, what the fuck?
See, this is the thing with when you listen to the corners and a lot of fights, you got a lot of trainers that it seems like they know the camera's on them, so they're putting on a show, and it's just too much. You got to remember, when you're in there getting punched in the face, you don't need too much information coming in. You just need little bits here and there to guide you. You don't need, well, you got to do this, and then you do this, and then you do that, and then you do this. I mean, fucking old fighters can't remember the first one you said. You know, the last one you said, sorry. I mean, how they going to remember? You just keep things simple.
It's the Teddy Atlas effect.
Sorry?
Yeah, remember, he would be. I think Teddy Atlas. He'd be in the corner, and he would see the red light go on, and all of a sudden he would go insane. He'd be talking, all of a sudden to see the red light because he was in television, so he knows that red light goes on. That means that camera's being used. It would go from, all right, this is.
I mean, when you see Sugar Hill, though, you can tell he's been caught by a man. The way he goes about his business. I mean, never gets fluttered. Sorry, whatever you want to call it. Flustered. Sorry, but I'm a bit tired. Flustered. He's never gets angry. Just says a few little words here and there, or when he needs to up his voice, he will do. But you don't need to be screaming. Oh, you don't need to do that, or you don't need to be sitting there. Like JD's and say nothing, just nothing. Just go, keep doing what you're doing, Deontay, even though you're getting whooped. The best trainers are the ones that just little bits of information. That's all you need. I've seen it time and time again with these trainers that try to look good in front of the camera, coming out with all this information. Look what I know. It's corny as fuck.
Yeah. I mean, it's bizarre.
Do you guys think that Teddy Atlas would do a good job with Anthony Joshua? Because just from the past, Teddy Atlas is a little bit sensationalized, but you can't, take away some of that.
I think Teddy Atlas is a bit of a drama queen, isn't he? It's a bit everything's a bit too dramatic with. I think there's a big personality as well. I think let's be real. Joshua's a piece of shit as well. You know, don't be fooled by this little. When the camera's not there, I've heard he can be a right piece of shit. And you know, Teddy Atlas is. I mean, Teddy Atlas is a guy. He's fell out with every fucker, isn't he? I mean, Tyson, fucking Sammy the Bull Gravano, all sorts of lives. I mean, he falls out with everyone. So yeah, I think it's a recipe for disaster, if you ask me. I mean, Joshua likes people like McCracken who just. You know, when the guy that just tells him every time he lands a jab, great work, Josh, great work. I mean, yeah, you just got counted with a big right hand. You know what I mean?
Atlas's own daughter said my father can be a very difficult man to deal with, and Atlas has said I can be a moody guy, and yeah, I mean, he put a 357 Magnum in the face of a fucking 18-year-old Mike Tyson. That's a little hyperbolic, but
you're talking about Atlas.
Yeah,
I think Teddy Atlas would give.
Sister.
Yeah, I think Teddy Atlas would give Anthony Joshua a panic attack in the corner. I mean, this guy, he's not for everybody. It's got to be a certain type of fighter.
He should go with Sean Porter's dad, isn't it? Whenever he sort of like doesn't look like he's going to win, and just pull him out, isn't it?
Yeah, he's gonna pull him out of the fight, man.
When Joshua doesn't stick to the game plan, pull him out. I mean, come on, man. I mean,
yeah, he didn't prepare like I wanted him to. What type of excuse is that? Anyway, listen, caller, Fernando, anything else you want to say before we move on?
Oh, yeah. So when you guys talk about trainers, what do you guys think about Buddy McGirt? I think he kind of goes a little bit under the radar, but I think he's pretty competent.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like Buddy McGirt. I mean, what he did with Andy Lee, I think he did a great job with Andy Lee, because Andy Lee was quite a vulnerable guy, man. I mean, when Chavez beat the brakes off him, I know he was given a lot of weight that day, but I think Buddy McGirt did a good job with Andy Lee, and he's had some good fights. But it's like this: you could stick Lewis Hamilton in a fucking say a Fiat Punto. He's not going to win races in it. Don't matter how fucking quick he can drive, and that's the same with trainers. You're only as good as the tools you've got. You know,
wasn't McGirt Arturo Gaudi's trainer, if I remember correctly? That was Buddy, wasn't it?
Yeah.
What?
Buddy McGirt, wasn't that Arturo's trainer when he fought
he's the
Ricky?
one that revived his career. Yeah.
Buddy McGirt had some good. He's had some good fights. I like Buddy McGirt. I think he's a good trainer. I mean,
yeah, I do too.
He's a good trainer. I mean, Keisha Cole's dad, he's all right as well. Fucking what's his name, Virgil. Yeah, he's a decent trainer as well, but he's a bit too dramatic as well. Everything's a bit ooh. He'd fucking weird me out in the corner if I had to take strips of him whispering in my ear. I mean, it's all you fucking need, isn't it? But yeah, I mean, it's just some trainers just overdo it for the cameras, and they're the ones I see through. You know, look at Roach. I mean, Roach has had the best of the best fighters in the world, and just goes in the corner, says a few things, and doesn't need to fucking sit there. Like, what would be like for sitting there fucking shadow boxing, showing world class fighters what to do? I'm surprised Ben had done that yet.
Yeah, that's true, man. But hey, listen, Fernando, we got to move on then. So thank you for your call. Interesting theory. I want to keep looking into it.
Guys. Take care. Thank you.
Keep looking into the MTK versus, MTK and Davison theory. I want to hear more about that. All right, man. Take it easy.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, man. Yeah, listen, Buddy McGirt is a very good technician, and one of the reasons why people liked him, I remember there was a Ring Magazine article back when he started getting guys like Johnny Tapia on his stable and Gaddy and Tarver, and they said that he tries new things. And maybe that's also what Ben Davison does. Not only his association with MTK, but also the fact that he throws these guys, he gives them different exercises or whatever. Maybe these guys go, whoa, because let's not mince words here. Boxing training can get monotonous. Road work, sparring, hitting the bag, the mid work. These guys, they want to have their world rocked a little bit. You know, they're like women. They want to be taken to new restaurants and right.
They want to, yeah. Depends on. He might have a great facility. I don't know if they train out of a certain facility. Might have made it high tech. But my thing is this, man. What fighters does he look good? What fight he can say, oh, that's a Ben Davis fighter? Look, I mean, Fury out of the 3 fights, the last one, I don't think he took that serious, but he looked best under Sugar Hill. He had the wrong game plan in the first one. And again, Josh Taylor lost that fight. And this kid, Monday night, Saturday, was losing too.
Yeah. I mean, fucking out. And it's been like that most of the year. Look, I mean, sometimes you can give, for me, Tyson Fury's trainer, Sugar Hill. I've seen the change in Tyson Fury, the way he fights, the way he comes forward and plants his feet, and he's getting more power in his shots. He's looking more dangerous. He's turned Tyson Fury sort of into a killer sort of thing. The machine in there again. That's the good trainers. That's the good trainers. The ones that could, get a guy and just completely change him around. I mean, but also the good trainers then you've got the trainers like Manuel Stewart who uses their tools and tweaks them up a little bit and doesn't overcomplicate things, even if it's boring or what. Do you think Manuel Stewart ever cared about looking good for the cameras, or I'm gonna come out of the game plan that makes me look good? No, he knew that especially the Americans were fucking pulling their teeth out when I was watching clips go. They fucking hated it, every second of it. But it was effective and he got results, and he knew that. So like Lennox Lewis was tedious to watch at times, but effective. That's the good trainers, not these ones that sit there analysing everything. Oh, fucking get out of here, Ben Davison. Fuck off.
Yeah, you should. I mean, like, okay, that other British guy, I mean, the Irish guy, I forget his name, all his fighters kind of look the same. That tells me that you're trying to put what you know into these fighters. And that's the absolute worst thing. That's not what you do. Like we've said before, you hide the fighters' flaws and you shine light on their good attributes. You elevate their attributes and you hide their flaws. And if you usually try to use their attributes to hide their flaws is the best way to do it too. But everybody's got flaws. Everybody's got, the things they're good at. And a good trainer is going to notice those and, work from there.
Here's an example. When I went to Floyd Senior, right? Now, what was the point of that? Ricky Hatton was never going to fight the way Floyd Senior wanted him to fight. So even if he tried to get, this is not a Rocky movie where Apollo Creed's coming just to save you, taking you on the beach and that, like showing you a bit of footwork. This is the real fucking deal, right? Hatton, why go with someone like Floyd Senior? He should have gone with someone like Roach or someone like that, or someone like who specialises in coming forward and letting your hands go. And that's the thing. Just getting your trainer wrong can cost you back dearly. And I'm not saying because Pacquiao to beat him anyway, but I'm just saying. That was a pointless appointment. It's like when Prince Nassim Hamed went to Emmanuel Stewart. Even though I love Emmanuel Stewart, one of the great, he was never going to do anything with Hamed because he was too unorthodox. There's just he's the sort of fighter. He fought on emotion and reactions. He just didn't. There was no plan. There was no method behind his work. He was just wild, running and fucking unorthodox. You can't do nothing with that. Look at the way Stewart fighters fight, and look at the way Prince Nassim Hamed fight. Chalk and cheese. So you don't know how good trainer you are. If you've got there's certain guys you just can't do nothing with, and I find that's the case with Josh Taylor and Ben Davison for a start, because Ben Davison likes that back foot fighting.
It's interesting that you mentioned. It's interesting that you mentioned Hatton Mayweather because that union, because I remember when Hatton he got beat by Floyd Jr., right? And he comes back and he struggles against Lascano. Lascano was a good fighter, but people made out a big deal about him getting stunned.
I had him losing to Galazzo, I did.
Yeah, okay. And then that one too, but that was way before. And then what happens? He hooks up with Mayweather Sr. and he looks great against light punching Paulo Malignaggi, who was a bad style matchup. Hatton was a bad style matchup for Malignaggi. But what happened? Mayweather Sr. got a lot of the credit. Oh, he fixed Hatton up. He fixed him up. And he wasn't. Look at what happened when Pacquiao got his hands around Hatton, knocked him out in 2 rounds.
This is the thing. Malignaggi was tailor made for Hatton to look good because. Malignaggi's got to get Hatton off. You've got to have enough pop in your shots to get his respect and get him. He's just walking through Malignaggi's shots to get his own off, and he's going to swarm you and he's going to be a handful. But obviously, when you've got a bit of pop, he can't do that. Well, Floyd was popping him with some good shots, and so Manny was as well. And it sort of like stops him in his tracks, and that's when he struggles. I think Luis Collazo, he was tagging him up as well. I remember that. I had him losing that one as well. But Malignaggi suited him because Malignaggi's got no pop, so just walk through his shots to get his own off, and so that's why he looked good. But I just didn't get that appointment at all, man.
Yeah, Hatton was one of those guys that after a loss he needed to revamp. And one of those ways psychologically is to get a new trainer. But Mayweather Sr., there's a reason why you haven't heard from Mayweather Sr. in a while. Didn't he have Chad Dawson at some point too? I think that Chad Dawson, something happened where Chad Dawson moved on, or was Senior moved on, but it's just he had a great, all-time great son, and every other fighter just didn't live up. Now, I want bad news here. People kept saying this in the chat a while back. Virgil Ortiz has pulled out of his fight this Saturday. It's not that big a loss because, I mean, the guy he was going to fight, he was probably going to run through him. But yeah, and undisclosed illness apparently. Do they say undisclosed? Yeah, hopefully he's not pulling a Bob Saget.
Well, it's definitely not COVID because, I mean, you could die on a motorbike accident. They'd put you down as a COVID death. I mean, so it's definitely not that.
Exactly.
I don't know what's happened to him. Maybe he's drugged. Maybe he failed a fucking drug test. You just don't know. I mean,
Virgil Ortiz pulled out.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Ortiz is at the stage of his career now where we was talking about Ortiz about 2 or 3 years ago. About what a prospect this kid's going to be. And the world's his oyster, but he's not moving on. You know, he's got to start fighting 3 times a year. He's got to be improving everyone as well. You know, it's just don't let your best years go. You know, get stale and like Charlo, you get stuck in a gear and you can't get out of it. You know, I just don't understand why these fights don't make the best when they're peaking. You get a period for about 2 or 3 years most where you're peaking at your best. You got to make the best of it because one day you're going to get up and it's not there anymore. And some guy's going to come and fucking take it all away from you. That's how boxing works, man.
Absolutely, man.
I'm wondering if he was having an issue with weight. Then usually a week of the fight, someone will pull out mysterious injury. A lot of times it's because they don't think they can make weight or they weren't taking it off right. Although
interesting.
Depends though. Some guys have mandatory monthly, like they have to weigh in, they have to go be weighed in. They have to weigh a certain weight by a certain time, like 2 weeks out of the fight. They have to weigh a certain amount to make sure they don't pull that shit. I don't know if that would happen here, but that sucks. But again, I wasn't looking forward to this fight because I don't think this kid was going to offer him anything.
Yeah,
I mean, he's got 2 knockouts. Give me a fucking break.
Yeah, that's not going to cut it.
Walk through that kid.
Yeah, that's not going to cut it against the guy like.
Right through. Yeah.
Because you know what?
Hey, boys, I'm going to have to shoot off. Hi, boys. I'm going to have to shoot off. I'll catch you guys later. Yeah, someone's come up.
I don't think so, Stu. I don't think so. You're going to have to stay here a little longer.
Fair enough, then. Fair enough.
All right, Stu. Good to have you back, man.
Stu, take it easy, buddy.
Take it easy.
Yeah, you take care, boys. When's your next show?
Well, if something comes up, Friday is the open lines. But I don't know if you guys enjoy that because it's too hectic.
No, I'm in Friday, bro. I'm in Friday, so I'll come on.
All right. Fantastic, man. All right, Stu, take it easy, man.
Go on Skype, man. Check Skype and messages.
Well, when BDA calls me, I'll get that. It comes through. So, yeah, I mean, I'll have to go on Skype so I can get hold of you again, Butcher. I miss our little chats, brother.
Oh, okay. So, yeah.
All right, take it easy,
I like to
man.
get the Butcher used to keep me updated with all the gossip. He's like one of them magazines. He's like the gossip magazine. Right, I'll see you guys later, yeah?
All right, take it easy, man.
Take it easy, brother.
All right, see ya, man.
Well, shout out to Amak PvP. He wanted to say to Stu, just showing some love and glad you're back, Stu. Shout out to Uncle Jimmy on the panel too. Yeah, Uncle Jimmy. I mean, that's usually
Thank
Uncle
you,
Pete's moniker, but yeah, he's calling you Uncle Jimmy.
I'll step in. I'll be the unc today.
As long as you're not the dirty uncle. But hey, listen, the Ortiz fight fell through, but we still, Jimmy, I know you didn't enjoy this lineup when I talked about it last episode, but you got the Yabuki Taraji rematch via Japan on Saturday, and then you still have Berlanga versus Steve Rolls. I gotta tell you, fellas, I rewatched that Rolls-Golovkin fight, and of course, Golovkin ended up knocking him out viciously, but Steve Rolls is a strong dude. He was standing right in front of Golovkin. You got to give him credit for heart, maybe not so much for ring IQ, but he stood in there with Golovkin. He hit him a couple of times. He's got some speed. He's got some accuracy. I'm curious to see what happens if Berlanga can't get him out of there within 5 rounds and if Rolls is still there chipping away.
Well, I think that kid Berlanga, hasn't he already been kind of found out?
Yeah. In his last fight against the Argentinian fella that Billy Joe Saunders stopped.
A couple of fights ago when he was tweeting about being the best fighter and people should recognize his power, and he was saying a lot of silly shit that we were saying, like, you shouldn't be saying that till you make it, because it's gonna make people gonna want to see you lose. I mean, you say goofy shit like that.
Absolutely. Yeah, these young fighters have to take a page out of the Eric Morales book and not talk that much smack before a fight. I mean, look at what's been happening. Teofimo Lopez talking a whole lot of smack, gets exposed, and it looks awful once he loses because it all goes back to him. Chris Colbert, who else? There's been other fighters that have been doing nonstop talking and they get found out. It's like this guy that, what was the name of the guy we were talking about with the Sideshow Bob haircut on Friday that was saying that Canelo's never fought anybody and that Spence is a drunk? Bell something?
Yes, I can't remember. I know what you're talking about.
I mean, that dude, apparently he's 33 years old. And he's acting like he's this hotshot prospect. I mean, these guys, look, I understand you got to sell yourself and sell yourself as a brand so that you get eyes on you. But then when you lose, it's going to be there forever. You're going to be a victim of, or the subject rather, of one of those when trash talking goes wrong videos that get millions of views. These guys got to weigh the options there a little bit, the pros and cons, because they can look awful later on. Yeah, Blair Cobbs, that's his name. Shout out to Andre for reminding me. Or maybe
the welterweight kid who's talking smack about Spence. Yeah, Blair. Is he fighting this weekend too?
I don't know, man. Let me see. And you know what? Do we really care? Yeah, that's why he's doing so much talking.
Right.
That's why he's doing so much talking. He will be. Well, he was supposed to fight on the undercard or the Ortiz card, but if that fight falls through, then who knows if this one's going to continue on.
You know, another guy is Inoue, man. What the fuck? What happened to him? How come there's so many guys right now? Like, I'm so disappointed that I thought Ortiz. I mean, when was the last time? Was it Gavin, the Green Machine? Wasn't that the last guy he fought?
Mm-hmm.
If I'm not mistaken. I mean, how long ago was that? That was got to be close to a year, right?
Ortiz fought Kavaluskas in the summer, I believe.
Yeah. Okay. And he's not. Christ, this should be his third fight since then.
Well, listen, Jimmy. I know you're upset, but don't use the Lord's name in vain, please.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. Just yeah. No, but anyway, I don't know what he was thinking signing in there with Top Rank when they didn't have any options on the table.
I mean, Golden Boy. Oh, no, anyway. I was talking about Ortiz too at that particular time. But Top Rank's willing to work on anybody. I don't know. Rumors is it's anyway. He had some personal shit going on, and then he wanted to fight in Japan. Because he's a monster. No pun intended. There in Japan, you know what I mean?
Right.
So I can understand that, but
you know what though?
What?
It's interesting you brought up Ortiz maybe pulling out of the fight because didn't he change trainers not that long ago?
Well, yeah, but he did say my father's always going to be the constant one. But yeah, he did. Didn't he go to? Yeah, was it him who changed? Yeah, he went over to the whatchamacallit brothers, right? The Garcia brothers.
Well, he was with Garcia, then he left them not that long ago. And
that's right. Yeah. That's right. He left.
So that's what I'm saying. You think maybe the change was too hectic and it threw his training camp off a little bit, or?
Yeah, because he's not a small guy for welterweight, so I'm sure it's one of those things where things aren't going right. Then it could be this too, like he might have been smart enough to realize. See, back in the day, you couldn't do this when the mob ran out. They would have said, "We'll break your legs. You're going to show the fuck up. You're just going to be overweight." But sometimes a trainer will start. Okay, he's a week out. Not even that. Today's Tuesday. Today's what, Tuesday? So the fight would have been this Saturday. What happens if he woke up and he felt like smashed ass? Like he hit that thing where you're going to feel crappy anyways the last 4 or 5 days before the fight because of you've so depleted.
Mm-hmm.
But you can tell there's a certain point like you feel beyond, like you're not going to get your strength back. Like you can, even if there's no dehydration limit, you can put on too much weight and it's not good for you. You can put it on too fast. That doesn't mean just because you put on 20 pounds overnight. So you're fighting at 135 pounds. You're on the scales or in this case 147. You step on the scale at 147 on Saturday night. Yeah, you might come into the ring Friday night, the following night, 20 pounds heavier, but you're not going to hit as hard as when you did at 167 coming down. You know what I'm saying? When you're taking the weight off, you're just not. You're going to feel so much stronger then. That's the whole reason behind weight divisions. I mean, weight divisions a tricky thing, and it meant more when they fought the same day weigh-in. Like Steve said, half these guys would be fighting 2 weight classes above their weight. Now,
yeah, you know what, Jimmy?
That's still same day weigh-in.
that's why sometimes when we talk about, wow, this guy's big for the weight division, he's weight draining. He's way too big. He should be fighting 2 divisions up. That can actually be counterproductive to him as well. I mean, eventually catches up to people, and they're not at 100% if they're killing themselves to make the weight.
No, I mean, think about it. I mean, like say, Teofimo Lopez, I guarantee you, he had a well-defined six-pack at 155 pounds.
Yeah.
150 pounds. Like, you know what I'm saying? So you know every pound he was taking off that, at that point, was muscle mass. You subtract muscle, you're losing power. It's why it's always it's a high act, it's a juggling act to find the lightest possible place you can get to, still maintain between 80 and 90% maximum power strength. That's what used to be the ideal target thing. Like, if you can still get between 80 and 90% of your full power when you're not all shredded down, that's a good thing. You know what I mean? That's where you want to stay at. But when you start losing it and you suddenly start feeling too weak and you can't gain the second wind, you're dry. You ever hear that expression, the fighter looks dry?
Yeah, and I think that's what...
Can't even
I think that's what might have happened to Chocolatito too, because we only watch him on Fight Night. We don't see what they go through. Apparently, I forget which one of his recent fights, he was walking around with that sweatsuit and spitting into a cup, and at the same time, he's got to do media interviews. That's got to be a pain in the ass. You're feeling horrible, you're thirsty as fuck, and hungry as well, and now you got to talk with these people.
That's such old school shit too. Sorry to cut you off, dude, but that drives me. When you starve your body for water like that, your body will automatically produce water. You'll get puffy. Your body will start storing water, because remember, your body doesn't know you're starving itself. The human body lives, when you're brain dead, you can still live another 20 years if somebody gives you one, keeps you breathing.
Yeah, I'm an example of that,
It just wants to, it's just your body. I'm sorry, but your body wants to live. So your body doesn't know whether you're starving yourself to fight in a boxing match or you're starving yourself because you're in a fucking, a prisoner camp. It just knows there's certain things that happen when you get to a certain point in anything. Your body will suddenly start storing everything you drink as fluids. If you start getting too dehydrated, it'll start storing everything as fat once you get below a certain body fat, because to keep itself alive.
Yeah, I remember, I think it was Dr. Margaret Goodman. She was talking about how guys like Fernando Vargas, because he was active at the time, and he kept talking about how he starved himself to make weight. And as she said, actually, that's counterproductive, because I think, like you said, I think the body either produces more water or I think fat, she said. One of those things.
Yes, of course. It stores it because it doesn't know when its next meal is going to come.
Right.
So it'll start storing everything. Oh, fat, I'm going to store that off here. Water, like when you're doing that, spitting in a cup because you don't want to swallow your spit because you want to get all that moisture out of you, your body's just going to produce, your body's like 80% water anyways, but it'll store whatever water it can. So yeah, there's a lot of archaic things we still do in boxing that just doesn't need to be done.
And by the way, there's a reason why you take a look at some of the most successful and consistently successful boxers out there. We're talking Bernard Hopkins, Floyd Mayweather, Juan Manuel Marquez, Shane Mosley. What do they all have in common? They stayed within about 10 pounds of their fighting weight.
Yep.
They weren't blowing up.
Absolutely.
Right. So you see some of these guys, you look at them and they got a double chin for the press conferences when they first announced a fight, and you're like, wait a minute, you got a month and a half. So essentially you're going into a fat camp and you're not working technique. That's disgraceful right there.
Exactly. Marvin Hagler would go into the camp knowing the weight would come off just through his natural training. Just through training. Like there was no part of his camp was, okay, now I got to shut off the weight. You know what I mean? He just knew, because he walked around at 175 pounds.
That's right. You know what, Jimmy?
He didn't bother getting out of weight.
I'm not even a professional boxer, and there were the times in my life where I was just maybe training 3 times a week or 4, and I was still staying in the same weight. These guys can't do that. Now, it's not because they're not working out. It's because they're partying. They're doing coke, they're doing alcohol, they're gorging themselves on food. And that's the other thing, is a lot of these guys, they're like, I gotta eat, the chicken breast and the broccoli. You're not a bodybuilder. The amount of cardio they're doing and high intensity interval training as a boxer, you're burning everything. You can technically eat whatever you want. But again, it's because they go into fat camp. They're already heavy when they go in there. That's why they starve themselves.
And a lot of it's genetics. Some guys, We've all known them, those dudes that could eat fucking peanut butter and jelly and cheesesteak subs 3 times a day and have a 6-pack. You know, just some guys got genetics that they don't get fat, and they burn fat. But yeah, so I don't think that's like, well, Giovanni Davis, he's one of the classic. I mean, that kid looks like he's, Vontae, he looks like he goes up to about 170. I mean, he's a slob. He looked pregnant last training camp.
Yeah.
That's just lack of discipline. That's all it is.
That's it. He's not going to... I mean, so far he can get away with it. Well, he almost didn't get away with it against Isaac Cruz. Listen, this Romero fight, I hate to say, I know Romero's unproven, all that. I'm curious to see what happens in there because he is strong. Say what you want about Romero, he's got that R strength, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, he's got that fucking Todd strength. Those guys are strong, man. I'm telling you. I told you about Woo Woo. That dude used to fucking drive around his bike. Tyrenes, we were little kids, man. Fucking kid was crazy strong, dude. Crazy strong. But he was a redhead too. Something's wrong with them people.
Yeah,
they got they take a beating and they're very strong. That's a scientific fact. Red hair people, like real redheads, they have a higher pain tolerance. I'll find the actual study. Yeah.
Do you think that's because they got Neanderthal blood or something, or?
I don't know, man. I maybe it's just over the years, like genetics things just happen. Evolution, maybe because they were always picked on and beat on. Evolution, it made them able to take a bigger beating, right? I don't know.
My grandfather used to say there was a legend, Native American legend, that a crack on the ground had been created in hell for a microsecond, spilled out, and that's where all the gingers came from. But I don't know. That was my grandfather, who was a highly bigoted man, so take what he said with a grain of salt. Well, listen.
What did Peter Griffin said? They have no soul.
Oh, Jesus.
Redheads have no soul.
Yeah, we're going to get banned, man. But listen, we've been on for about 2 hours. We got to go. I got to go grab myself something to eat. My stomach's starting to growl.
I ate while we were on. That's a good thing about having stew on. I just started eating when he was talking.
Lucky you, man. What you eat?
Shit on a shingle, what they used to call it in the Army. Chicken and gravy over toast.
Nice. That sounds delicious, man.
Yes.
Now you're making me hungry even more, man. Fuck that.
Yeah, it was good, man. It was good. It's actually a French-Canadian thing. Toast with gravy and chicken. But yes, brother.
What do they call that? They call that what's that called? Sandwich. What's that called? A sandwich with gravy on top. I've never liked that, man.
Yeah, if you try to eat like a sandwich, it's messy as hell. I use a fork and a knife. Yeah, anyway. Shit on a shingle. Open face sandwich. That's how I eat them. Anything, even Rubens, I eat them open face. Use a fork. I don't want the people. They put the sandwich. You get things 4 inches high. And they go to bite it, and half it shoots out the other end all over them. Get the fuck out of here. Yeah. Use a fork and knife, you idiot. Yeah, anyways, my brother, you go eat.
All right, man. Take it easy, Jimmy. Thank you for joining us, man.
Take it easy, buddy.
Buchu as well. Buchu, you still there?
Yes, he just said, "See you, Bucho. Have a good night, my brother."
He just left.
I think he just hung
all right. Yeah, all right. Well, listen, Jimmy.
You don't got time for that shit.
Talk to you later, Jimmy, and everybody out there. Hey, listen, don't forget to hit the like on the way out. Remember, you can catch us on iTunes, Spreaker, Spotify. Thanks to everybody that donated, everybody that called in. We need to get more callers out there. That's our mission statement tonight. Go get more callers. We need callers, everybody that... Listen, because we know the Charlo fans are out there. And listen, we might be wrong, so you might get one up on us. Don't be afraid. Oh, shout out to Thunderdome in the chat. Check out Thunderdome. Thunderdome, are you going to go on... are you going to go live? Check out Thunderdome's channel. If he goes live, he usually goes live at night. He went live yesterday, pretty late. I wasn't able to catch it, but I know he went on. Jimmy L Show Cake says, Jimmy getting mad about how to eat a sandwich. Well, listen, it's disgusting. Gravy on a sandwich. Ugh. But anyway, shout out to... by the way, Thunderdome, log on to Discord every once in a while, because I got to send you some messages about Second Renaissance as well. Anyway, in any event, everybody, shout out to everybody in the chat room. Thank you for joining us. Spread that BDA gospel. And yes, Thunderdome says he's going live now. So check out Thunderdome. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed already to Thunderdome. Excellent show.
Nice.
I might drop by.
I watch Thunderdome all the time.
Yeah, I might drop by later on as well if he'll have us, if he opens up a panel. I gotta go eat first though. Fucking starving. Shout out to Porokua, El Showcake, Iceman, The Quacks, Hawker Mustang, Iron Fist, One Foot Out the Door. Shout out to One Foot Out the Door. Who else we got here? Don Ramon Champ, Iceman, Pete. Shout out to Uncle Pete, Joker, Anilton, Andrade, Brian Montes. If I get anybody, guys, I gotta go. But thanks again for joining us. Catch you on the next one. Take it easy, folks.
I mean, I'm dealing with degenerate animals.
I'm disappointed in everyone.